Representative from Shelby County, Decker. I'm trying to remember now which one it was, but she was come around here and that public care Shelby County. Still speak to me and all of a
I hope so.
Then they stay in office like that over or something. Last two presidents we had are prime examples. And what I want to probably when I get it for next time. Yeah, like in power.
Same thing in Washington, the same packet that I got. Everything. From the north, come down and yeah, if you don't mind. I grabbed the wrong one.
I run one down yesterday.
Ran it off.
Probably a lot more people.
Probably
They get both of them or just one?
I was gonna say it should, well, it probably had a picture of you coming to work.
That's what Jim said.
Guys, I know it's 9:03, but Squire Stump is en route, really close, he said. I think he started ahead of him. I'm gonna move it up. Yeah, here he comes. And before, I was going to tell some of you guys, if you all are from Elk Creek area or are here to represent the voting issue, I know it's down in the agenda, but I'm going to move it up, so I won't keep you here all day.
Welcome.
Mike.
Y'all wasn't waiting on me, was you?
Just a little bit. We knew you was coming.
Traffic, yeah.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, May 6th, 9 a.m. Monday. Glad everyone's here. As we always do, we like to open in a word of prayer right before we say the pledge. Lots of folks in the community, a lot of folks in the county family that have had some health issues and want to remember those, and we've lost some loved ones. So as we open our meeting, Mike, if you don't mind, would you open in a word of prayer, please?
Lord, thank you for this day that you've given us, and Lord, we just we're thankful for the rain, but Lord, we pray for protection as they're calling for upcoming storms in the forecast for this upcoming week. And Lord, we're so thankful for the blessings that you've bestowed upon our community and that you continue to bestow on our community. And Lord, we just pray that you give us guidance and wisdom moving forward. And Lord, we pray for those in the community that are hurting today, that have lost loved ones or are suffering themselves. And we pray for those that are sick and need healing. And Lord, we know that you're the great physician, and we just ask that you lay your healing hand upon them and bring them back to health. And Lord, we just ask in all things that your will be done. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. If you would join me in salute to our flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll, please.
Squire Stump.
Here.
Squire Chair.
Here.
Squire Eldridge.
Here.
Judge Travis.
Here.
Squire Travis.
Here.
Squire Cotton.
Here.
All right, we're all here. Next item, approval of the minutes. I didn't see anything that, right here, we're out of line. Page 18 and 19, y'all look at those, it's the same page, so we need to delete one of those. It could have just been my book, but I'm not certain. I don't know if y'all noticed, see if those two are the same pages. 18 and 19. We'll just delete page 18 or avoid it, I guess. So that's all that I saw myself.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second. All right, we have a, with the deletion of one page.
Deletion of page 18.
All right, we have a motion by Jim, seconded by Zach, to approve the minutes with the corrections mentioned. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
I'm abstaining.
Oh, okay. All right, one abstention, so anyway, motion passes. Next, communications from the judge. We're accepting sealed bids for rock and asphalt, and the asphalt will include a time period when we need work done. We'll put that in before we finalize whichever bid we accept. So that's ongoing. We're going to have before our next meeting, we'll have to have a county road aid required public hearing. We'll just do that before our next meeting. And then I have the Building Safety Month proclamation. Should have numbered my pages. 26. Just basically, I won't read it all because I don't want to be here after lunch today. But basically, May is a Building Safety Month, and we have a proclamation. The first paragraph, whereas French County is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on safety and essential role of our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play both in everyday life and when disasters strike. And it goes on down about basically keeping folks safe. And so the next to the last paragraph, whereas each year in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local and state building departments, fire prevention bureaus, and federal agencies in protecting lives and property. So today I will declare that May is Building Safety Month. So I have that here. We'll get that in. Let's see, that takes care of that. So now we'll have communications from citizens. Mark, you're up. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Judge. Counselor Thomas, I'm confident that in your training as a lawyer, you're familiar with tort law and contract law. And those contracts that we deal with MAGO are in focus today with my comments. And that is, I'm requesting this fiscal court, and more importantly, you as the judicial part of the three tiers of government, to impose in that contract a clause that states that if MAGO does not provide at least a 24-hour notice to Todd Birch, the county judge, or EMS responders, that they're going to suffer a penalty, $1,000, $2,000 per contract, per job. I'd also like in that contract for there to be a clause to state that if they fail to give notice, that they are accepting legal liability for any cause of action due to their negligence and dereliction of duty in not having first responders be able to get through or be notified ahead of time to take an alternative route. Case in point, Thursday, Friday, Mago was blacktopping Brashears Creek. If you've not driven it, go up the road and experience it. It's not 2 lanes, it's 1 lane. I think most of you men are familiar with construction equipment. You know how wide a paver is. I've got the engineer from Mago that tells me on the phone, we've got it all taken care of. To quote him, I'm making just a mountain out of a molehill. He says when they hear an ambulance, they back the paver up to the nearest driveway and they let the individual or the first responder go through. Really? Now, any of you guys that are in construction know how fast an asphalt paver goes, and that's assuming that the driveway is within 20 feet. What are you going to do about the dump trucks that are either dumping into the asphalt paver or that are on the roadway supplying it? Look, this is just real common sense. And I've been fighting with the city on not notifying first responders, and what it boils down to is this. If each one of your homes catches on fire, and it's during the day, the fire district may be lucky to get 1 engine company out. And if that engine company comes down this street and turns on to Brashears Creek and commits to that road and gets down 1/8 of a mile, it can't turn around because of its weight. And it's going to have to back up or wait for somebody to get out of the way. I don't expect any of you except for Stump to know what I'm about to say. But in 5 to 10 minutes, you can lose a house. Depending upon the wind, depending on what the structure is and the source of the fire is. It boggles my mind that I've got an engineer from Mago that is just so blasé. I understand he has no concept of fire or time limitations. I'm not even talking about EMS responses where minutes mean saving lives. This is really simple. If Mago doesn't want to comply, then force them with the contract, and if they don't want to take the contract, then get somebody else. I think all this is reasonable. It's common sense. And I don't understand why that we've gone so long without having a policy. And Judge, I appreciate your efforts. Nathan told me that Ms. Vito and you got on this, bam. But again, if Mago doesn't help you, and even if Mago says that they're going to come Monday morning at 8 o'clock and it rains, okay, I get it. Life's a bitch. All right, I get that. But at least first responders have an alternative plan. When I was in the fire service for St. Matthews, we built a second station in St. Matthews on the other side of the tracks. For obvious reasons, you don't know how long the train's going to be, if it's going to stay parked, if it's going to get broken down. It's just really simple. And Counselor, you have the ability in and of yourself, without fiscal court's approval, to take action such as this. And if you want me to show you the KRS, I will. I'm more than happy. I appreciate you, Judge.
Thank you. Any other citizens would like to speak? Yes, please come up. If you would, state your name.
Yes.
Thank you.
My name is Rachel Susan. I live at 1950 Whitfield Lane, and I'm actually speaking to one of the readings that's coming up later for a subdivision. I have a request and kind of a statement that I'd like to ask if any of you, I know some of you have been out there, but have all of you been out to the area to look at where this is going in, as far as the surrounding roads, the county road, the state road? From what I understand, the people that live on the state portion that's being requested, I don't think that they're aware that their road is about to be widened. And I think that they would have a say in that. I'm not sure, I don't know how that works, but I just wanted to put that out there. Also, the second thing is that we all moved out there for peace of mind, to be out in the county, to be away from subdivisions, to be away from all of this. And now all of a sudden, we're gonna have to deal with a 5 to possibly 10-year, if there's delays, of chaos coming into our neighborhood and messing up our peace of mind. It's the whole reason we moved out there. I'm asking this court to do their due diligence and keep the current residents in mind as they take this into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Ray Manley. I live at 3759 Plum Creek Road. I'm retired, but prior to retiring, I worked for 23 years for the Louisville Board of Aldermen and the Metro Council as a legislative assistant. I saw a lot of money spent because of bad planning over the years in Jefferson County and in Louisville. Tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars fixing things because projects were built where they never should have been built. I tell you this for a reason. Around the 1920s is when this country started transitioning to automobiles and started rebuilding all of our highways for automobiles. Spencer County is the same. Most of the roads that we drive on here were built originally for automobiles in the 1920s. They weren't designed for today's traffic loads. In 1920, there was about 7,000 people in Spencer County. Only 25% of the households owned cars in the 20s, so that meant there was probably less than 500 cars in Spencer County. Now there's probably somewhere between 16 and 20,000 cars in Spencer County driving on those same roads. Even the roads that have been improved haven't been improved a whole lot. Plum Creek Road is a state highway, yet north of my driveway, if you get two wheels off of the pavement, you go into a ditch that's 12 feet deep. I've seen cars correct and get turned over in that intersection several times. Even on just a little bit farther north, there was a fire truck, I believe, turned over in one of those ditches. That's one of our better highways. So when you're making decisions on zoning, making decisions on developments, consider as to whether or not we're trying to put a 2020 development onto a 1920 highway and the impact that it will have not only on the people there, but the people that are going to move in there and on the people that sit in these seats behind you when they have to correct mistakes that could have been corrected just by simply saying no sometimes or searching for an alternative. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tina Dow, 1826 Whitfield Lane. I have many concerns about a subdivision movement in our neighborhood because that's not where we live to begin with. But now we're looking at years of our whole tranquil neighborhood and our little roads, and some of it's just one lane, is now going to have heavy equipment. They've been told that if they build a road over towards Plum Creek, that the state will put in a bridge. We don't know that for a fact. So it could be that we end up with just all that traffic coming in and out of just our neighborhood. So far, we've seen one house built by this developer, and we've seen the inconsideration of being bad neighbors. They don't care about our neighborhood. They don't care about our speed. They don't care if we're on the road and we can't get over. They'll push you off the road. And if you say anything, they'll tell you to get off their property. They're not talking to you. So I have a real big concern about any of this development being approved. Personally, I don't want to put up with 3 to 5 years of road construction in my little neighborhood on my little road. They had said they weren't going to improve the road. They're phase 1. They have to improve the road. How long is that phase 1 going to last? How many times can we not get the horse trailer out and go to horse shows or go for a trail ride? Or our fences are taken out because somebody was shoved off the road and through our fence, and now we have to worry about our livestock. That's why we live out there. We don't live in a subdivision with little dogs and little picket fences or any of that. We live out there with horses. I just need you all to take in consideration whoever promised them that if they build the road that the state will build the bridge on Plum Creek. We need that in writing. We need it in blood because it's going to be our blood, sweat, and tears that has to put up with this for the years of all their development. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens' comments? Yes.
Hello, my name is Joyce Owens. I'm from 114 McIntosh Court. I'm off Dale Lane, so I'm not directly involved with the Woodfield area, but it will impact me. And I know at least 2 of you live up in that area. So I see traffic all the time on Dale Lane, which is okay, it's here and there, but once this development is created and people move in, you will have at least 500 more people. If I'm not mistaken, right now, Spencer County has around 20,000 people, maybe a little bit more at this point. 500 is a lot more people. We're going to end up like Bullitt County or Mount Washington area where every single piece of property is taken up. When they had that little bridge renovated last year and over at Plum Creek and Dale Lane, 2 months. 2 months of inconvenience. You had your school buses were a mess because of that. If you shop down in Mount Washington area, you couldn't go down there. I do my banking down there and a few other things. It was like closed for 2 months. So now with this construction, you know, maybe the roads won't be closed, but it's going to be a mess. And it's going to go on for years and years because that's the way the developments go. The other thing is you're going to need, because of the population increase, you're probably going to need another fire station down there. Because every night down Dale Lane, there's fire trucks going, there's ambulances going. With that kind of increase of people, you know, you will have that. Let's see. Obviously, you're going to have your increased traffic, noise, garbage. There's been developments being put up right now where they don't clean up after themselves. So the people who live right in that area are going to have a mess of junk all the time. So I just would like you to consider keeping that limited, if not at all, to the people who live here. I came to Spencer County because this is a great, small, spread out community. I'd really like to keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience? Any other citizen comments? All right, I'll close that section. On our agenda, down under new business H, I have a discussion update regarding the county line boundary with Shelby County. It's actually page 55 and 56. I want to move that up to right now because we have, actually, I don't want to call James Allen a guest because he's from here, but we have State Representative Jennifer Decker from Shelby County beside James Allen there. So I'd like to, we'll move that up and we'll start the discussion on this now. And Ms. Decker, James Allen, y'all are welcome to the podium.
Judge Travis, members of the court, thank you. Not often I bring my Constitution with me to this court meeting. I'm sure everybody here is aware. I became aware probably a little less than 2 weeks ago about the situation, about that there were 240 citizens that were in Spencer County, voting in Spencer County, received a letter from the Shelby County clerk directed that they would no longer be voting in Spencer County and be voting in Shelby County. I've reached out to several people, State Board of Elections, Secretary of State's office. Senator Higdon and I were on a conference call with the Attorney General's office last week discussing this issue. State Board of Election on April 30th did send a letter to the Shelby County Clerk, Tommy Harover, and also to our Spencer County Clerk, Lynn Hesselbrock. I sent you a copy of that, Judge, and I'd like to read just a portion of that into the record so we have some context for what happened. On the third paragraph, I'm going to start. It says, as you both also know, pursuant to KRS 117.055, subsection 1, in the reapportionment process, each county is to be divided into election precincts so that no precinct boundary crosses the boundary of another county a state senatorial district, or a state representative district, and shaping the post-2020 census precincts, the geographical line separating Spencer and Shelby County also separates Senate Districts 7 and 14, as well as House Districts 53 and 58. The precinct lines could not be drawn to bring the entirety of the several identified residential areas into Spencer County precincts, as the accuracy of the GIS maps proved the areas to be bisected by a line that differentiates counties and legislative districts. With the knowledge that 240 voters were, according to the accuracy of the GIS mapping, residing in Shelby County, KRS 116.035 subsection 1 requires that these voters have their registration updated to reflect the correct county of habitation. Had either of you not agreed to move these voters into their correct counties, you could have possibly opened yourself up to felony prosecution under KRS 119.015 or 119.035 for permitting, making, or use of a wrongful, false, or fraudulent registration record, as I would have had to advise the board to inform the Office of the Attorney General pursuant to the board's KRS 117.015 subsection 1 mandate to administer the election laws of the state and supervise voter registration. The next to last paragraph, the State Board of Elections acknowledges that the timing of this revelation is less than ideal for the affected voters, you and your staff, as well as the lawmakers who are either losing or gaining constituents, but the law must be upheld regardless of timing or inconvenience. I wanted that read so everyone knows that our clerk, Hasselbright, the clerk of Shelby County, they were put in a position where they felt, the Shelby County clerk felt it was necessary that they might, threat a felony. I also reached out to the State Board of Elections and asked them for maps of the area last Thursday night. I did receive those maps. I dropped you off a copy of those. I reviewed the maps. I did go into the clerk's office on Friday and pulled up the plats for some of the developments, Beacon Hill, Walnut Grove. The Beacon Hill plat did not differentiate where the county line was, but the Walnut Grove plat, Schultz Lane, did differentiate. Also went to the PEA's office and looked at their maps, and to be honest, the county lines on their maps looked to me to be consistent with what the State Board of Elections sent us. So I feel like those properties are in Shelby County. Now, going back historically, I think we all know a lot of these deeds. You have a parent farm that was divided. Part of the farm was in multiple counties. The access to that property was in Spencer County, so that's where the development went in from Spencer County and then went on back. Now, I've asked Julie, I talked to Julie this morning, she's looking up any kind of written documentation there might have been back in the day. I don't know if this was an unwritten agreement, a handshake, I don't know, but it doesn't matter, we are where we are today. So where do you go? Now, with 15 days left to the election, for those voters, to me, the only option they would have to potentially stay in Spencer County would be to go to court and ask for an injunction. 15 days left, I don't know how feasible that would be. I also point out, I think it would require one of those residents to initiate action. We've got a county attorney here, so somebody that has standing to do that probably would have to be one of them at their cost. I also know, Judge, you and I have talked, there is a state statute that allows for a portion of a county to be moved. It requires that a petition of the individuals file a petition. They would have to file that with the Shelby County clerk. And as I understand it, if they file that timely, it could be presented on the November ballot for the Shelby County voters to vote on this issue. As I've considered this and talked to people, this is going to be, its potential to be more than just elections. I was in the PVA office on Friday. Kim was not there, but I understand she was going to talk to the state this week to find out exactly where the property tax bills need to go. We got property tax, we got insurance premium tax, we got the school situation. I have talked to Dr. Foster at the school system. He feels very confident that none of the students will be impacted. They can work through that. You've got differences in zoning regulations. So this is, be frankly, Judge, this is a mess.
Yes, yes.
And it's gonna take a lot of work to work through it, but Representative Decker's here this morning. She wanted to come and hear the court discussion on this. I appreciate that. And we're here at your all's disposal to try and get any information you need, try and put you in contact with the right people who can help guide and direct you through this process. But I'm just kind of laying out the information that I have accumulated over the last few days. And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to try to entertain any questions from any members of the court on this issue. I was hoping to come here and give a review of the session. Maybe a future meeting we could do that. This is more time.
Does anyone have any questions for James Allen? The timing of this just floors me.
I understand.
As well. Of course, I'm not an affected voter because I don't exactly live there, but it affects everything we do on the county level. You know, we're getting ready to vote on our budget because we have to send it to DLG. We're going to lose revenue because of this move.
I've been told the assessed value is around $50 million.
Right. So yeah, we will, you know, go backwards. But I spent many hours this weekend trying to research, looking through the KRS in different ways. I did some YouTubing or Googling. There's a couple examples in Georgia. The current governor, he was either Attorney General or Secretary of State, Mr. Kemp, Governor Kemp, and he had worked 5 years on a county dispute, and that, apparently now there's county signs that says disputed when you go into that county.
Okay.
They didn't get it resolved, and then there's an exact problem that we have in Shelby County, Tennessee, which is Memphis, and Fayette County, but the line took in a guy that's running for state rep, and then I think maybe his wife or someone was actually a council member or a commissioner, but that didn't have a resolve. And
I understand there are some other counties that are impacted, but at a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
Maybe just a handful in other counties so far that have been identified, but you're right, it has potential implications. I know one thing, that if there is not a petition and a vote that were to move it, I would suspect, and it's been my recommendation, that you're talking about emergency responders, there can be memorandums of understanding about who will service that area, because it's not practical for somebody, a fire district or ambulance from Shelby County to come to that area in a timely manner. You've also got road maintenance issues. And then if the property tax and things like insurance premium tax, those things, were to go to Shelby County, I think it's possible that Spencer and Shelby County could work out an agreement between the counties that Spencer County will provide those services, but will receive those tax money or a portion of that tax money back. So like I said, there's a lot to work through. And Representative Decker and I, also Senator Keegan, not here this morning, but he's been very involved in this process as well.
I want to tell the court last Thursday afternoon, I called a meeting of basically not the magistrates, because we couldn't have a quorum, but the elected officials, the clerk, county attorney, myself, TVA, I know Julie was in on it, the sheriff, several of us were here, the fire chief, our EMS director, the deputy judge, but I wanted us all to discuss it to make sure that we were aware of the impacts that this could place upon us, or will place upon us, and I wanted us to have a unified message to the citizens of the community that we're doing everything we can within our abilities, within the law. Corey and Cheryl, I really appreciate you all. I didn't like the legal answers that you gave, but just like James Allen just said, we're pretty limited, and after researching other parts of the country that has the same problem, it's just beyond me how, you know, there are people in Elk Creek that their kid is now employed somewhere, and his whole life, or her whole life, she said, I was from Spencer County. But was he? You know, there were babies born in homes out there that are now working out in the workforce, done left home, that's from Spencer County, but are they? And, you know, you go into the law issues, adverse possession, you know, does anything play into effect? And just too many questions and not enough answers. So, any magistrate have any thoughts on the issue?
I'd just like to ask you guys to give us some guidance at the state level as far as, you know, what's our best alternative here? You know, is it a petition? Is that the first thing we need to do? And give us like 3 or 4, you know, things we can do to get this thing.
Well, I'm not an attorney, so I can't give legal advice.
Sure.
But like I said, the KRS statute does provide a process that there could be a petition. It's also in the Constitution, section 64 and 65 describes that process for moving county lines. So there is a process. Only people who are impacted could be petitioners on that petition. It would have to go to the Shelby County judge. It had to be done in a timely manner. I believe it's sometime in August, I believe. You know, my advice on that, if you're going to do a petition, you're going to have an accurate legal description of the impacted area. I believe in the conversation with the Attorney General's office, there is precedent. Back in 1963, there was a precinct in Russell County that moved into Pulaski County. So this has happened before. So identifying that area in a way that presents the voters, to me, the challenge to that is, I believe Judge Ison would be cooperative in the officials over there, because it's a headache, going to be a headache for them too, but it's going to be educating the voters of Shelby County as to that issue, whether or not that happens or not. If that petition and election were not to happen or be successful, I think you go back to, you're going to have these agreements, these memorandums of understandings between emergency services, EMS, fire protection. I mean, this could impact somebody's insurance, how much they pay for insurance. And I hate to tell the folks out there, but Shelby County property taxes are a little bit higher than Spencer County property taxes. So it's going to have an impact on our citizens, where they go to renew their license for the vehicles, where they do county services. So I don't want to lose those 240 constituents. So no, you don't either. So I think the cleanest thing we could do is have a successful petition and election. But my advice would be is whoever's doing that, get an attorney involved so it's done, the petition is done correctly and legally. That may cost some money. I also understand some conversations with judge and a county attorney that as elected officials, we cannot be part of the petition process. I believe that's correct.
That's correct, and I'm glad you brought up that point, because you can't use public dollars, whether it be at a fiscal court meeting, advocating for or against a ballot proposition. I think it was specifically in 67.30. Ultimately, that would be a Shelby County issue if they were to bring that petition, but you are correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, to me, those are going to be, those are the two options. Either have a successful petition and election to move that area back into Spencer County. I think that would be the cleanest way to solve this. Or if that's not successful, you're going to have to work with Shelby County and come up with those agreements between counties. Because the main thing is the citizens, we want to provide, make sure the citizens have the services are provided to them. And, you know, planning and zoning. Shelby County planning and zoning ordinances are a lot different than Spencer County. So I don't know, you know, there's just a lot of questions right now.
Could you talk about the issue we talked earlier about the zoning, the subdivisions themselves, where Shelby County's got 5 acres?
Sure, in Shelby County, they require 5 acres for an individual lot. Like in Spencer County, you just have to have a minimum of 1. So there are a lot, the point is there are a lot of unanswered questions right now that are going to have to be worked through.
I'd like to know when this all, I mean, somewhere along the line, I know we just now found out about it in a couple of weeks, but somewhere along the line, this has been coming down the pipe for a while, and we're just now hearing about it, so that's...
From my conversations with the Board of Elections, this came about as part of the reapportionment. You know, you reapportion the districts.
Hell, that was 8 months ago.
I know. They did tell me there was some
and I get that they got the maps there, they have to go through the whole state and do the whole thing. I get that it's a process, but I mean, still at the same time.
It's my understanding the State Board of Elections knew about this in March.
Yeah.
But they did not, it was only like 2 weeks ago, or less than 2 weeks ago, that anybody here, and then the rest of us got a letter like 3 weeks before the primary. So the timing of this is, I know Representative Decker is unhappy, Senator Hayden and I both, we're all unhappy about the timing of this. I pleaded with the Board of Elections, if there any way, at least to get this past the primary, so we've got time to work on this, but they dug their heels in. And you heard, I don't know, Judge may provide you a copy of that letter. You heard what I read from that letter. That
And I understand what our county clerks were facing. I understand that. I'd have been the same way. But at the same point, you know, once again, they knew about it. They should have given us attention.
Yeah, we should have had time to work on this and be aware of it ahead of time. I agree with you 100% there.
This is kind of horse track.
So, have any of these residents expressed their concerns, or do they know what, I know we can't go pro or con on it, but do they know potential steps that they should take?
Well, I put a Facebook post out last week just so people would be aware of it. My Representative Decker, Senator Heaton, and I have all had multiple conversations with people. I had one gentleman said, I've been living here for 28 years in Wanda Grove development. One of the first ones in here, he got elected. And the ones I have talked to, but I think, from my position as a state rep, I think I will at least explain, try and communicate, maybe through Facebook, through the paper, just to explain what the possible steps are, so that they are aware of what their options are moving forward. I think you might want to check with the Ethics Commission up there like that. They're a little sensitive, but I think I can do that. But we can provide, I'm providing information. We can provide information to the citizens.
I mean, yeah, I think we ought to try to get it out best to them as we possibly can, so they fully understand what's getting ready to happen to them.
The biggest fear I had, and I know that you touched on it talking to Dr. Foster at the school, was the family sitting around the kitchen table and mom or dad reading that letter, and then now you have fear that you're going to uproot these children, these kids that are in band and FFA and clubs and have got friends for 11 years and so forth.
In 2021, the General Assembly passed House Bill 563. Part of that was struck down by the Kentucky Supreme Court, but the portion that stayed does allow students to move across district boundaries. There's a process in place. And Dr. Foster assured me they will work through that to keep those students. He told me I could share that with you all, that they will work through whatever options they have with Shelby County to make sure those students stay in Spencer County schools, so they're not uprooted. I know they've received several calls, people concerned, like you said, that fear.
And I also want to tell the folks out there to, if you have an emergency, help's coming. I know that.
Yeah, we're not really to shut off services to these people.
We're going to run our fire truck. We're going to run our ambulance up in there. Representative Decker, I've got 2 roads out there that we just blacktopped.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to approve the bill for blacktopping those roads because, you know, they needed it, and so, but you know, we're going to work through this, and it won't be fun, and I'm dreading it, but we'll work through it.
Sounds like we need to get an interlocal agreement signed with Shelby County, so our emergency services can work through it.
And to add to that, I know Chief Nation was here at a meeting Thursday, and they already have an agreement. So
I'm talking about the ambulance.
With the ambulance, yeah.
Ambulance to sheriff's office.
Yeah. So, all right.
I think I would like to say.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming
I
today.
appreciate you all having us. In answer to your question about when did we know? We didn't know.
Yeah, and I know you all did.
In
I know
fact,
you all did.
I have heard they knew this in March. I passed a bill with them. I never heard a word about it until, I think it was last week for me. The letters had already gone out. So there is an issue that with all of that. I am a lawyer. I will not give legal advice. But I think James Allen has noted just as an option that there's going to have to, before this election, there would have to be an injunction. And so that's a whole, and I have talked with various people who live here, told them I'm not even suggesting they do that, except there is nothing that we can do. And we are bound by legislative ethics. That is an executive branch, that is a board that is appointed by the governor. With the Secretary of State as the chairman, I understand he did not know of this either. I don't think it was a board decision, it was an executive decision. So, as far as Shelby County agreeing, I've talked with the county judge executive. He wanted to just sign an agreement with the judge to move the property. That can't happen under the statute. And while he would, and I would, I feel that the weight of the ethics of all this, and the precedent that's been set for 20 plus years. But it is a matter before the voters, and with a $50 million base, I can't tell you what the voters of Shelby County would say, because they would be giving up that tax base. So it would have to, in the long run, it's going to have to be before the voters with interlocal agreements. I think that is the correct answer, and those can start right now. So I'm sorry that it's happened. I would love 240 new constituents and $50 million more dollars, but I think there's been a lot of water under that bridge, a lot of precedents set. Things like you all deciding where your fire stations would be. That's all been based on a precedent. I have talked with constituents who themselves knew that their property sat in Shelby County, but they were advised by their lawyers to deed it here. I don't understand that. I don't understand why a lawyer would have ever said that, but the lawyer signed the deed, so I know they did say that. So there's just been a lot of confusion here that, and when you have legal matters, confusion is a bad thing and needs to be set right. So eventually this has to be set right. Our schools, when I talked to the county judge, he says it would be a burden for us to take 240 families worth of students in Shelby County. I'm not sure. And this law that we passed will allow them to stay in the school if that's what they choose, except I don't think transportation was involved. You had to transport yourself, which would mean your schools or the parents would have to transfer if they lived in Shelby County. That's the only proviso there. But they already are, I assume. So anything I can do to help, I will. Not much I can do other than try to get information to you all and to say I'm sorry that it happened on the part of the state. Thank you.
Well, I mean, it affects us, but we're not the ones that's going to affect the voters that we need to all be concerned with. I mean, that's the bottom line, that's the ones that's really going to hit, you know. Those folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that, like Mike said, I think we need to start working on interlocal agreements. Sounds like the Shelby County Judge Executive would be on board and start working out, not just, hey, we're going to provide services, but what kind of compensation we're going to get out of the tax base. Of course, we're not going to get property tax if it falls that way and stuff, but we can get something to pay for the services. And I think that working all that out now, before we get a final judgment, would be.
I know there is some residents up there that's known about this since my father's first term as sheriff, because there was a question over making arrests and things and stuff in the back of Beacon Hill, and he said, I don't have authority to be here. I have to, get, okay from Shelby County. And to make those people aware, I don't know why it's, it's taking this long for it to rear its head, but I agree with them, and I don't know if the sheriff's office still has their local agreement with Shelby County, but we need to do one for the county to cover the EMS, and we need to either, I think Scott needs to get one with Shelby. If it doesn't, then we need to start that immediately so we can at least guarantee emergency coverage free of legal liability across the county line until we come up with a more permanent resolution.
Okay. I'll tell you what I'd like to do. I'd like to make a motion that the court enter into, or start the process of hiring a private attorney since the county cannot get into it. Will we do that?
No.
It has to be the people.
For private attorney for what purpose?
To look in, to writing a petition
No.
for the ballot.
No.
Okay.
Cannot be transferred out.
Okay.
But you can make a motion about starting interlocal.
Well, you know, I think we need to get with BMS and all the department heads. You know, I've heard that they almost all have to have
Scott, do you have any
local agreement
agreement?
now.
I would have to look, but I know when I took office, I contacted Mark Moore, and I told Mark, I said, Mark, don't worry about that area, because it's stupid to even think they could respond to it. I said, we will respond to it and take care of the situation. Now, liability-wise, but I mean, when I worked for Taylorsville, I arrested a guy off in the back end of Schultz Lane, thinking everything was fine, and then when I went to do my Niagara report,
You want on that?
Exactly. We wouldn't take it, and then I realized that's actually in Shelby County, but I talked to Melanie Brummer, who was our assistant county attorney at that time. She said, God, you're fine, you acted in good faith to handle the situation, and nobody else can get there.
And that's what I'm saying, up until this point, we had the blanket of good faith.
Right.
Now we've all been made aware in public forum, good faith ain't gonna cut it no more. So it don't cost nothing to call over there, get some ink on some paper, get somebody to sign it, we're all covered.
I think myself and Sheriff Moore will not have a bit of problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could almost have that done by lunchtime.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree that it needs to be done.
Yeah, I just think we just see what,
Yeah.
Cheryl, the other day, did I understand right that like every law officer in the Commonwealth can perform his or her duties anywhere in the Commonwealth?
The powers of arrest are statewide, they're Commonwealth-wide. If you were a peace officer, your powers exist across the Commonwealth. It's just, your sheriff would be making an arrest in Shelby County, and where it would go to court would be in Shelby County. But his powers of arrest are statewide.
So, but I do agree that going, like immediately, we need to start working on getting agreements with every agency. I mean, it's just like you said, Dan, because this is going to be how we get reimbursed for money we're going to be out. So we're into the motion then.
I make a motion that the county start immediate discussions with trying to get an interlocal agreement with Shelby County for the purposes of EMS service for the county.
You want to do all services?
No, he has to do his own.
What about our recovering for our road department?
Well, all that covers, if we got one for the county, that covers everything that falls under the county, the road department, the EMS, and everything else. But he's his own elected official, he gets his own interlocal.
I think though that as a county, we need to have one blanket, and so that like you said, we can recover.
That's what I just said.
Hopefully recover something, you said EMS.
Well, I mean, but it's blanket, but mainly the main thing is EMS falls under that blanket because we're the main administrator of EMS. But it's gonna be an interlocal agreement in general, but the main purpose is EMS.
We'll just make it plural, interlocal agreements, means that's
fine.
All right, so all right, we have a motion by Mike, second by Zach, that Springs County and Springs County Fiscal Court enter into interlocal agreements with Shelby County to provide the necessary services for the affected areas. Does that sound all right, Mike? Sure. All right, any other discussion? Any comments? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
We'll add kind of a vote on it. I've been, much like you and representatives, in touch with counterpart in Shelby County, Gary McIntyre, the county attorney. We've been discussing this, and so continue forward now that we're
Okay.
a clear picture.
All right, I thank you guys. You're welcome to stay till lunch.
You say for lunch?
You're welcome to stay till lunch or after. We may order pizza. But, all right, thank you for coming over. Appreciate it. We'll be working.
Yeah.
Thank you, James Allen, for coming today. You're welcome to stay. All right, next on the agenda is zoning readings and recommendations. Julie. And I happened to think, when I was reading through all this last night, a question that we need to ask ourselves from this time forward. Any zoning change? Is it near a county line?
Right. Well, I'll elaborate on that a little bit. Benji said that. So Walnut Grove was done before my time, so I'm not sure what was done then. But when I came into my position, what I was told on county lines is you discuss with the adjoining county, and generally what we've always done is whoever has the taxes on it is the county that handles it. So when the urban Hochstrasser property came up, where Beacon Hills is, the taxes were paid in Spencer County. So I talked to Joanne Venus in Shelby County and I said, okay, here's what I've got. Do you want me to handle it? If you want to handle it, what do we do? And so it was kicked my way. Now, even though we took it through zoning and platted it and everything like that, that still doesn't say that once it went to record, that the taxes could have been divided between the two counties. I mean, we were aware that the line went through there somewhere. But at that point, like I said, wherever the taxes were being collected at that time on that farm as a whole, is who handled the zoning portion of it, is the way we've done it, so.
But, go ahead, just one comment, when you said that, I know, I was raised in the Chapman Lane, and our farm was split down the middle, Shelby and Spencer, and my dad would complain every year about it. He had to pay taxes in two counties, even though the land was there. So, even the Hochstrasser, they were probably paying taxes in both counties at that time, when that subdivision was put in.
And I can't answer to that, it's just a matter of, I guess, the portion that we ended up doing was a portion that, was in Spencer. And I think in the years past, there was a trade-off at some of the lines between the counties to try to equal out the tax base, along those lines. Kim could talk better on that than I can, but anyway, but I know that's the way Beacon Hill and Arbor Green happened though, it was a matter of which county to handle it, I think, and it made a difference, maybe where the primary residence was on that farm originally, so that's where they were taxed, so.
I'm really concerned, and I don't want to keep doing this, but that line, I have heard some of our residents have called the clerk over there, Shelby County. And if that line splits a house, I mean, if it splits 2/3 is in Spencer, they choose to be in Spencer, or they now got to vote in Shelby. I mean, there's people on the line, I'm curious as to why they were targeted. That's not the best word, but, all right.
That's what I was getting at, why did this become an issue all of a sudden?
Yeah.
I don't understand, there's all kinds of, I own a farm in part of Spencer County and Shelby County, and the entrance is in Spencer County, I pay Spencer County tax. I mean, there's storms everywhere like that, how do you all of a sudden?
And they go both ways. Get on and Google a GIS map, you guys, and I followed it all the way around our county, and it's everywhere. I'll click on a Spencer County farm and they're paying taxes in Nelson. I'll click on a Spencer County farm and they're little of it's in Bullitt, they're paying taxes in Bullitt. Like up at Deerwood, last year we extended that water line to put a fire plug that'd be safer for those residents. You click on their boxes, a lot of them say Bullitt County. And I mean, that's just how it is and how it's always been.
When did y'all hear about this, Lynn?
About middle of April.
So you're fairly soon recent.
They
all found out about that same time I think James Allen did.
25 years of kicking the can down the road, it's got catching up.
Well, years ago, they used to measure property with chains. Then they started, and that was like 66 feet. So you had a big old chain. Well, then they started measuring by feet. All right, that worked just fine. Now they have GIS and satellites and algorithms, and to get a GIS, I YouTube a lot this weekend. But there's several factors that go into play. And by golly, one of them ain't where you thought you lived for 20 years. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But anyway. All right, Julie, I'm sorry.
You're
Go ahead.
All right. So we have 2 second readings. The first is the application of Bob and Tina Kegley requesting Ag1 agricultural to R1 residential on tract 1 consisting of 1.10 acres and tract 2 consisting of 3.10 acres located on Martin Lane and 5621 Blinkfield Road. Commissioner Wheatley made a motion to recommend to rezone the application of Bob and Tina Kegley requesting zone change from Ag1 agricultural to R1 residential on tract 1 consisting of 1.10 acres and tract 2 consisting of 3.10 acres at the corner of Martin Lane and 5621 Blinkfield Road. The recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends medium density residential. The change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan and there was no one there to speak against it. Commissioner Deepin seconded that motion. After roll call vote, motion carried. And that is in Zach's district.
Motion to approve the zoning change based on the facts and findings of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Zach, second by Dan to approve the zoning change that was just read from the Kegleys, based on facts and findings of planning and zoning. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, Julie, you got another one?
Next, have a second reading on the application of Marvin Lee and Lynn McIntosh and Richie Lane Shepherd requesting R1 residential to Ag2 agricultural on tract 2 containing 5.01 acres at 2014 Hickory Ridge Road. Commissioner Travis made a motion to recommend to rezone the application of Marvin Lane and Lynn McIntosh and Richie Lane Shepherd requesting zone change from R1 residential to I2 agricultural on tract 2 containing 5.01 acres located at 2014 Hickory Ridge Road. The recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends low density residential. The change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan. It meets the regulations it falls under, and there was no one there to speak against it. Commissioner Deepin seconded that motion. After a roll call vote, motion carried. And this is in Wills.
Make a motion to approve the zoning change based on the facts and findings of planning and zoning.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Will, seconded by Mike, to approve the zoning change of the McIntosh and Shepherd, based upon the facts and findings of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next, you have a first reading.
Yep, we have first reading of M.R. Smith, Inc., Michael Morgan, Robert Smith, and Shelby Jean Smith, requesting Ag1 agricultural to R1 residential on 47.94 acres located in the 1900 block of Whitfield Lane. Commissioner Fowl made the motion to recommend to rezone 47.94 acres at 1900 Whitfield Lane. The recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends medium to low density residential. The change is somewhat in compliance with the comprehensive plan as the lots are 1 acre and above mixed use development. We've heard testimony from individuals in the area, have taken into consideration their wants and needs. This rezoning would be contingent with a binding element on any road improvements on county and state roads with a portion of Whitfield Lane of 18 feet width on the state portion and county specs on the county portion for the widening of the roads. Also a binding element for no further rezoning or subdividing a lot until the bridge and the second entrance is completed. There's 1,200 square foot minimum homes to be built on the residential lots. Those exteriors can be brick, hardy board, or vinyl. Other types of construction on the larger Ag 1 lots are 1,200 square feet plus and maybe other exteriors. No manufactured homes or mobile homes, no washover crossings. She noted this was added by Commissioner Mudd, but must be in compliance with ordinance number 1, section 403.7, that the road must be widened prior to construction of the development itself being started. The widened road must pass inspection of the county road foreman and the county engineers. Commissioner Wheatley seconded that motion. Do y'all want me to read the vote as the yeas and nays, or just motion carried? Okay.
I have some concerns I want to say about this. I see that I guess was that the state recommendation that they felt that the state portion of the road needed to be 18 feet wide. I just think it's weird that you're going to widen the state portion 18 feet, but the county's going to be 22 feet.
Well, I think when it came in, it was through an email from Jason Richardson. I think he was saying more of a minimum of 18 feet. I don't think he was saying that's what it had to be. And the reason being was because at the point where it would tie in is about 18 feet, I guess, on the city portion. So he was saying, you know, right there, somewhere between Ridgecrest and Masters in that area.
That's what I was gathering.
Is where it would, that way it would become more uniform instead of bottlenecking like it does now.
So where it's double yellow is where it has a yellow line in the center, that's 18 feet, and then when it loses that, it goes to
like 15, 16,
where it's just 2 white lines.
And even that,
Of course, but I mean, you know, we have state roads all over the state like that,
Exactly.
all over the county. But, go ahead, Mike, I'm sorry.
And there's a lot of things in here contingent on this bridge. I was reading through the minutes and the multiple motions that were voted on, and I believe that you stated in the meeting that the person she was talking to had said that, or some of the correspondence she was involved with, was they have to get a commercial entrance off of Plum Creek Road where they want to tie on, which is contingent upon site distance, permits, approval, stuff like that.
That would be if they were to put a bridge in, it would have to be a commercial entrance.
But you don't know if any of that's been done?
I do not. I know they got some private entrances approved, but I don't know that a commercial entrance location has been approved.
And the water line is to be installed initial, right?
They would pull that from Plum Creek all the way up.
Okay. And then I have some questions about the state funding, but that's appropriate that the county attorney stepped out right when you needed. So I have some concerns here, like I was reading through these minutes, and this is one of the very few things that comes through here that is not a, and this is more of informational, make people aware. It's not not everybody voted for it. It wasn't unanimous, and there was a lot of back and forth, and you read through these minutes, and this was like a pail of mud, really. But Commissioner Deepin, is that how you say his name? Said, I can understand that some changes have been made because a lot of people don't know this is a resubmittal. And it might make life in the new subdivision better, but I don't see where it affects in a positive way all the people that come in here time after time. So we're not seeing where it's really making improvements. There's one person saying that he didn't really think it would make a great deal of improvement to the community to have it. And then Commissioner Fowl said the recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends medium to low density residential. The change is not in compliance, but the compliance can be changed based on the density. We've had some people speak out against it. I understand those concerns, but also to think about things that are good for Spencer County. The county is rapidly becoming a bedroom community, and we need the tax base to keep it going. And I have concern about it because it feels like that through that statement that he says that it does not comply with the comprehensive plan, and unless some changes are made.
I think if you keep reading, that's when they ask for the definition of what high, medium, low density was, and that's where we try to explain what those were.
Right.
And so, high density is small lots on sewer, so no, we don't want that there. Whereas our medium density is more of the 1 acre tracts, type of residential development. And then your low density is, your big tracts, 5 acres.
But even on the summary page, it says the change is somewhat in compliance. Now, why are they presenting something to us that's somewhat in compliance instead of in compliance? I mean, we've got a comprehensive plan for a reason. So I'm going to send it back to you guys, and I'm going to say I want it to be in compliance, not somewhat in compliance. Because I think that there's some people on this commission that are being persuaded by they see homes being built and tax dollars coming in, but a lot of people know that the county sees very small percentage of property taxes that are paid. It goes to conservation district, it goes to the library. Most of it goes to the school. So are we creating a headache for the county here without doing our due diligence into making sure that we're doing it the right way? Commissioner Fowle goes on to say, the recommended land use map plan it recommends medium to low density residential. The change is somewhat in compliance with the comprehensive plan. And he goes on that, we need to make some more changes, so, and nothing is said about funding of this bridge in this, other than, well, we'll try to apply for.
It does. In the minutes, it talks about funding for the bridge.
I'll continue. They just said that they was going to try to apply for funding through state help, and they might have some skin in the game, and they might have to do some land. So my concern is what happens if all that just falls through? And you just got a road that's running to Plum Creek, and then all of a sudden, they're done, and then you're gonna be looking at the county or the state to put a bridge across Plum Creek. Are we gonna go on the hook for $1 million? That's something that we have to consider. And I don't really think that it's legal to get the state to help fund a private development.
Ain't the binding element to no further rezoning or subdivision.
Well, it's true, but I'm just saying if they wanna open up the second part.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, they gotta put the bridge in the second interest, it has to be complete before.
I know, but
their hands are tied right there.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just making sure that if they decide they want to do it, that we're doing it the right way. And I want to make sure that the county taxpayer is not going to be on the hook if they decide to do a second phase with funding. Don't come asking us for $1. Don't go asking the state for $1. This is your development. It's a private development.
Yeah, and the county's not gonna be the one to go in and rezone it or subdivide it. So whoever buys it down the road has to, as a binding element on this zoning, that says this has to be completed before they move to that second phase.
I understand that. I'm asking about who's paying for it, not what's going to be completed.
It doesn't matter who's paying for it at that point, because it has to be somebody on their end. It isn't in the county's hands, it ain't into the.
I didn't say anything in here that said the developer's paying 100% for it, whoever develops it, whoever builds it.
It's saying it has to be paid for and done.
Okay, by who?
Actually, they do state that they're gonna build a road down there, and by building a road, then they can go to the state and say, hey, look, we got a road here, we need another access point, will you all build us a bridge? So.
And then the state does that, and that's the state's.
It is the state going to pay for it.
That's the state.
They did ask the developer too, would you consider taking a portion of each property that you sell and putting it into a contingency fund, because if the state does say, hey, we'll build you a bridge, but you're gonna have to pay 20% of it, that they have that money, and they never committed to that.
Yeah. So I know that they're gonna have to build a bridge if they want to open up the second phase of developing, which is fine. But I don't want the state paying for it. Because even if the state says, yeah, we'll give you the money for the bridge, then whenever we petition the state and we need grant money or we need something like that, they're gonna say, we just gave you $1 million for a bridge. That wasn't our problem. If the developer is gonna build a development, he should be 100% funding his development totally. And then we take it over and we maintain it. So I want it sent back and I want it clear in this recommendation that the developer will pay for the funding of the bridge. And that I want it clear in here that this will be in compliance with the comprehensive plan, not somewhat in compliance.
Billy, I have a question, just because he brought it before.
And that's just my two things. I think they're both legitimate points.
Compliance. This here is 40-some lots or whatever it is for phase one. How do you guys dictate 100% what is in compliance or not? Because this, as the state says, somewhat compliant. But you're in compliance out here on the deadliest road in the county, the new road, and it gets approved to build 500 new houses every 2 years. So how do y'all make that call, what is compliant and not? This is somewhat compliant with 47 houses on a road that doesn't have half the fatalities of that road, but we can approve 500 new houses on the deadliest road in the
I
county.
think it has to do with density. I mean, if you're talking about Global Crossing, those houses are spread out all over the place.
I mean,
They're not spread out. They're one of them. They're acre. They're not. I finished every one of them in the new section.
You know, second, how many bells is strong?
Some are less than acre to acre and a half, some, depending on how it's
Yeah,
laid.
there's a messed
Some are
up
an
corner
acre.
lot, or I mean, there's one 3-acre lot or something like that in there, just because it doesn't lay out right, but I just don't understand that. I understand it's based off density, but I don't understand your calculation or planning and zoning. I'm not putting this on you, you know.
Well, it's not just on us, because you all have to approve that book as well, but what it does, it comes down to a comprehensive plan, and every 5
I'm not
years.
saying they shouldn't be done.
I
I
got
understand
you.
we play a part in it too, but I don't understand how you say this is compliant, this isn't.
I mean, every 5 years, we have to redo the comprehensive plan. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And the last time we approved, we just readopted what we had because we were waiting for the new magisterial districts to come out. Because in a lot of it, it is split out by units and sections that we couldn't really piece together and figure out how they are. So we decided we were just gonna wait. So what we do with that is, it is mapped out. We try to determine population. We look at the roads. We look at the, water availability, emergency services. We try to just take the whole picture of the county together. And what you do is you try to build in that comprehensive plan what you foresee projections
So your plan
for the
is
next
you
5
got
years.
bigger roads, easier access, higher density also.
Right,
Is what
and
you're
so
on.
it's just all a projection thing in hopes that we're hitting it right, and so
An
that's
educated
where they
guess.
decided.
I mean, in reality, that's what it is.
But I'll be honest, you go back quite a ways, and most of the projections for where the density is,
You've got right.
it's about the same.
So my only issue, and Mike kind of brought this up, is that, okay, we have an ordinance that we require 22-foot wide roads with 2-foot. So they're going to widen this, the developer has agreed to widen the state portion of the road to make this happen. I think that if we're going to have the road widened in one area to 22 foot, the whole road ought to be 22 foot. It's not like it's a couple mile long
We
road.
can't dictate what you do to
We
the state
can.
highway. You cannot.
We can.
If the state highway, if
No.
the state says you can't put it 22
We
feet,
can,
you
and
cannot.
they stated that in this argument here.
It's in
They
this
can
argument,
dictate
it
that.
says.
I think
So,
that's what
we're not in control of state
That's what your
highway.
guy said from the state, right? That's what I was reading in the minutes.
The guy from the state said a minimum of 18
Originally,
feet.
in
But I think they'll let you
December,
do
they
more.
had said
They'll
it
let
would
you do
require
more,
that they obtain additional right-of-way. We could not, they
One of
wouldn't
them did more
accept
too.
additional
We
right-of-way
put
if
in a
they got
30-foot
it.
wide road, but
There
our minimum
was-
is 22 feet, correct?
Yes.
Okay, their minimum is 18 feet, that's all they're
But
stating, that's all they're stating.
We shouldn't be
That's
having
all
a
they're
road
stating.
funneling down into so
I'm
we
just stating
decided,
that it's stating.
when we passed an ordinance, that we were tired of all these small roads, and that any new roads were gonna be 22 foot wide. So now we're saying, well, okay, well, we'll make an exception here. We'll say this road can be 18 foot, so are we just gonna make
We're not
exceptions
making the
everywhere?
exception. We're not making the exception.
Yeah, we are, because we have the ability to
Do we
say it has to
maintain
be
state
22
highways?
foot wide.
No.
No,
Can we dictate where they're maintained, how they're put in? No. The state
can
does. Your
dictate.
representative is right there. Thank you for saying.
It says right here, read that, Mike.
Oh, I'm getting there, I'm in the right paragraph.
Okay. That we can dictate that road has to be wide.
Read who said that.
It's the guy that she was talking to from KYTC, right?
Right.
You read it. Y'all
This
sure
is
you
the
found it?
email from Jason Richardson, dated the 17th of April, when he says, bearing the information in mind, there is more than enough existing right-of-way to widen Kentucky 2814 Whitfield Lane to a consistent 18 feet between the beginning of the state road or state route and Ridgecrest Drive. The existing pavement in that area is approximately 16 feet wide, so minimal widening would be necessary to achieve the 18 feet two-lane section. It's the department's position that if the county intends for the developer to widen the county-owned portion of Whitfield Lane to 2 lanes, then Kentucky 2814 between the county portion and Ridgecrest Drive should also be widened to continue the 18-foot width, two-lane typical section that currently exists north of Ridgecrest Drive. As mentioned previously, KYTC cannot approach the developer and require these improvements since the development does not directly tie into the state route. However, the local government typically does have that authority.
Y'all caught that.
So we have that authority.
Well, see, you could be missing out on an opportunity to get just a little bit wider road for a little bit longer.
Of course, how much sense would it make to have the end of the road wider than the beginning of the road?
That's what we're saying is that.
But it's 18 feet out on King's Church.
What I'm saying is it should be connected like the 18 feet there, and then it should gradually widen to get to 22.
Well, there'll be a transition on the county portion.
You know, and if that's fine, I mean, I don't.
And we know there's 60-foot right-of-way already.
Yeah, there's
Just so
plenty
y'all
of
know,
right-of-way.
there is right-of-way designated, so as far as the people that live out there, no more of their lands will be taken because there's already 60-foot right-of-way designated.
You know, correct me if I'm wrong, but our county requirements are 20 feet blacktop on a county road. New subdivisions,
20 feet with curbing gutter, 22 feet without.
That's on new subdivision roads. But this, what we're talking about is existing county road, it's 20 feet.
I'm not sure that it doesn't specify anything different in there. It states, it's all county roads.
Roads, just be minimum 22 feet without.
When you all changed it, you didn't break it out.
Yeah.
I thought we gave it an either or, gutters or without gutters.
It is. They can put curb and gutter on it if they want to,
But that-
do 20-foot wide.
I think that was any new subdivision roads. We're talking about existing county road, like Poster also, they're doing right now. You know, they don't
Right.
have to widen that to 22 feet.
They made 20 because they did curb and gutter,
Well, just on a little bit of
you
it.
know.
They do.
But that one was pre-approved before that was changed.
That whole thing's not perfect, though.
Yeah,
Basically-
they had their construction plans in and approved before y'all made that change.
Yeah, basically today, this is the first reading.
Yes.
Now, I know Mike has interest in sending this back. So what's the process of how we handle that?
Off the top of my head, I don't know the specifics.
Wait till the second reading.
Wait till the second reading.
I thought they were I was supposed to tell her what I wanted, and they're supposed to put it back in it, and then she brings back another first reading, that's what I
I
wanted.
think it's after the second reading, if we vote to do this or that, we vote to add this to it and send it back.
Today is more than anything, just letting you all know, this is what we've got, this, you know, and
You want to vote it down, then you send it back.
I thought we never voted on first reading.
We don't.
I don't think we do.
you don't vote on
think
it.
That's good.
I think you have to wait till the next one.
I don't know that it's out of line for us to vote today to send it back, is it?
I'm not gonna do a quick recall without the statute in front of me.
Fair enough.
I mean, typically, anytime we have done a vote on a first reading, it's just as a belt and suspenders to approve the first reading, it's not going to send it back. And I think at the time of the second reading, stating the reasons for it and sending it back.
Okay.
Would probably
All right.
I think they're aware of our concerns now, so if they want to do something before the second reading, then they can.
Well, I just think this recommendation that was presented after I read through these 30 pages of minutes, which I'm probably the only person here that read every word in there. Okay, me and Dan. So if you didn't read every word,
98%, so I'm not gonna say.
Me too.
you know,
I ain't gonna say
I
100.
read every damn word of it, and there's a lot, I think when they get down to the actually, they go back and forth with this and that and this and that, they're getting down to the weeds, we want this, we don't want that, we want this, we don't want that. But then the recommendation is brought down to, if you just take that, the recommendation, which is actually what we're approving, there's a lot of gray area.
Well, what does it hurt if he wants to try to make that motion?
So I want this more detailed about what the developer can do, what he can't do.
I'd let him make it.
And then I wanted to say that, whatever changes is made to make it in compliance, not somewhat in compliance, I want those noted, detailed on here. And they need to, it needs to be stated in there somewhere, that if they want to continue with the second phase and they're gonna move forward with the bridge, that before they do that, that they need to present a financial, like how they're gonna fund it. They are, but, well, they don't know yet how they're getting the money. Whether it's state, or they're gonna call us, or they're gonna put up some collateral with the land. I want it made clear in there that, I think that it would be completely, Corey, I'm not gonna approve it unless Corey tells me that the Attorney General's office says that we can use state taxpayer funds to fund a private developer.
That's not what it says.
That's not what it says. The bridge wouldn't be part of the private development, but
why wouldn't it?
But it's still
pass through road from Plum Creek to Fiscal Lake.
But still, they're building a bridge, or they're reconstructing a bridge on Plum Creek Road right now.
So you're telling me a new construction that is part of the main thoroughfare going through a subdivision is not, that's not?
I don't think it's none of my business or yours, it's the state's. Whether they decide they want to build a bridge for whatever their reason, and that ain't my business or yours.
I'm just saying, if it's out of our hands, and let's say they're planning on banking with the state, and let's just say the state says, no, we're not doing it, then who comes up with the money then?
Then they're not gonna develop any further.
They can't go no further.
Well, I read that like 3
Unless the
times,
state-
and I didn't get that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is.
Binding element for no future rezoning or subdividing of lots until the bridge and second entrance is complete. It's plain as day in the recommendation.
Yeah.
Well, this is the first reading, so can we move on?
Yeah.
Is everyone happy with that?
Put your motion together between now and next meeting.
Yeah, just 2 weeks away.
Right.
All right, any other discussion on this? All right. Thank you all. We'll move on to Health Insurance Committee recommendations. 52, all right, thank you. We met, the Health Insurance Committee met the other day, and we're trying to come up with a better solution that'll help our employees more. And basically the recommendation that the Health Insurance Committee came up with is on page 52. And it reads, move to the state health plan on January 1 of 25. Raise the county paid coverage to $900 beginning July 1 of 24. All other policies that we would pay 80% beginning on July 1 unless someone currently has a qualifying event, and then they could start on it on June 1st. And then for the remainder of the year, the Fiscal card would just be loaded at $600 or $100 per month, depending on if, say, you were hired in October, then you just get 3 months' worth. But I'll make that in the form of a motion, put it on the floor.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by myself, seconded by Zach, to approve the recommendations of the Health Insurance Committee, which I just read. Any discussions?
What's the additional cost for us paying 80%?
I'm putting, in the budget that we're getting ready to vote on here a little bit, I added $40,000, I believe, Doug, to cover additional costs.
Well, it's kind of hard to really know. Because in the time everybody, when open enrollment comes up, you don't know how many people are going to change. If we're paying more, there may be a lot of changes.
And then if if the clerk's folks or the sheriff's folks got into it, it would come out of their salary cap. So it would be all other employees potentially, which that's still a bunch.
And the insurance committee will still need to look at after the state plan rates come out that 1st of October, so we might be better off staying where we're at. But if not, we got an avenue already in place to start switching over January 1 to the state plan.
The state plan's 10 times better than what we got right now.
And basically what we've got now took a jump of 8.5%. And we don't know what the state plan jump will be, but we'll find out this fall.
Typically, the state plan, when it has a jump, is put on to the employees, and it's put on to the employer, the rates too.
Judge, I've got a question. I wasn't able to make that meeting, and just for purposes of my employees, what does that 80% work out to dollar-wise?
It's in this book. It depends on their plan.
Do you have a range?
Yeah, but I tell you, this book.
Basically,
talking about getting
we're
rid
only
of
paying 80% of whatever the total coverage is.
I understand that.
So when you just take that, and look at whatever that range is there.
I didn't get a copy of
But basically, it has when you go to the state plan, you have a tobacco and a non-tobacco rate. And, and then even this rate I give you, we don't know because it changes fall.
But you're going to start taking enrollments July 1 of this year, correct?
July 1 to stay in the same plans that we're currently taking. January 1 will be new enrollment for the state.
The state plan doesn't work on Tuesday.
Yeah, if we
You
choose.
have an open enrollment in July?
We know we have open enrollment in July every year.
Well,
For what you currently have? Yeah, we do.
for what you currently have, yeah. But if you have a qualifying event,
Yeah, you can do it beforehand.
Right.
I understand.
So what we're doing, just so I'm clear, we're going to have open enrollment to stay in the plan we're in right now until January, and then we're going to switch over to the state plan, correct?
unless the state plan is more expensive, and once we learn that, we will vote again to not go into it.
So the 80% that the county's going to pay will go into effect July 1?
June 1.
No, well, June 1, if someone has a qualifying event, July 1,
But
otherwise.
do you have a copy of the rates that are?
Yeah, well, I'll get you this. Doug, make sure we get her, the one we had the other day.
That isn't what we discussed.
What's that?
On the 80%. The 80% was going to begin June 1st. Early.
Oh, July 1.
No.
Yeah, it says July 1.
That's what it
unless you have
says on here,
qualifying
that's not
event.
what we discussed in the meeting.
Well, but if you have a qualifying event, it'll start June 1.
No. So, this 80%, we're wanting it to start, June the 1st. If you have unless you, have a qualifying event, you can change now with 80%, but unless you don't have a qualifying event, you change July the 1st. So like Will can move his plan, change his plan if he's taking the insurance plan July 1st. Unless he has a qualifying event, he can change it.
June 1st.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just making sure.
But say if your wife is on the state health insurance plan or something, and retired at the end of June, or end of May, you have a qualifying event where you could go on first.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you just make that now?
Well,
Because the open enrollment is July 1.
July 1st, I like having a clean start.
Well, that and our insurance, we asked, that just how it's gonna start out. Maybe cleaner, but.
So if someone had a child tomorrow,
Yeah,
they're
they
gonna
can change.
pay, well, no, I still do.
Well, they can change June, a month, less than a month away.
Or if they don't have insurance for their family, I don't know.
I mean, we haven't had, we needed a clean start date, it couldn't be.
I asked for if we could
I would make it today.
just do it like we did the last time. I asked that guy if we could just change the rates or whatever, we could just do it, open enrollment. We already did that once when we went from $1,200. And he said that we wouldn't let us do it this time.
The 80% that the county's paying, starting July 1st, that's just July 1st to December, right, till we go on the state plan. And
The 80% starts immediately.
Yeah,
If you have
that's only
qualifying
for the
event.
remainder of the calendar year, right?
Yeah.
Then we'll have to
Reassess.
reassess.
Yes.
Commit to, because you know, the insurance goes up 10% again next year.
Well, we're gonna, if we vote to accept this recommendation, then the plan is, nothing else changes. We're gonna keep our current plan, we're increasing it, to 80% on all of our employee, spouse, family. Beginning July the 1st, we're going to increase our individual policies to $900. And then January the 1st, we're switching over to the state plan. If we don't do anything else, that's the plan, that's the road we're taking. And then in October, I think the state rates come out. And we'll get to see them. Now, if it's gonna be significantly higher, say that the state's gonna increase 30%.
But
We're obviously not gonna take that.
if we don't go to the state plan, then we're locked in and paying 80% until next July.
Yes, but if you look at what this 80% is compared to what we'll be going over to the state plan, we're not really much different.
You know, the biggest wild card is how many people will jump on the 80% plans that are currently on them now.
Yes.
Right now, we have 5.
Yes.
So, and Lynn, I've got some answers to help that. See, come July 1, our rates are going up to 8.5%. If we did nothing, let's see, well, if this passes and we go to the 900, people on the single plan, which we have 31 employees on it, the insurance for them is going to be a whole lot cheaper, because we'll be paying 900. The total cost is $919.73.
You're asking what 80% is if we're paying correct. Well, we are, the employer is paying.
Yes, what the employer's paying and what the employee will pay for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The employee will be cheaper for sure, you know, if you have questions.
And it's a valid point to Lynn's because it affects their salary cap.
Yeah.
So,
Unless you just need to book.
yeah, we'll get you a book.
And those rates are going to be in effect July 1st. If somebody signs up for the family plan,
Yes.
the county's going to pay 80% of that premium.
And an example would be on if it was a family plan, we'd be paying $2,330. And if it was an employee child, we'd be paying $1,315, which currently would be $1,200. See, we would do $1,200 on a family plan, but nobody needed it.
Well, part of the reason we come up with this the way it is too, if a new hire was hired today, they wouldn't be eligible to the insurance until July 1st anyway. That's why we put in that they got a qualifying event. We could still do that if something happens and they lose their insurance and they get the 1st of June.
Right.
We could then cover those people this way.
I guess my question is, Mark Wilson, why couldn't we, instead of June 1st, why couldn't we make that today?
Because if we did it today, the way I understood, the way Scott explained it to us, that our insurance rep that we had explained to it that we gotta have a start date for this. We have to have like the end of the month, first of the month. And then if we just openly, blankly did it, then we have to do an open enrollment. And they're not going to let us do an open enrollment.
Starting today, if we did the 900 starting today, it would cost more, that we would be paying more than what the cheapest single plan is, and if we do that, we got to pay down every employee.
See, the rate ain't changed yet. The rate doesn't change till July 1. So that's a good point, Doug, I forgot that. Yeah, if it went into effect today, we'd be paying over 100% of somebody's insurance.
Why can't we make the 80% effect today?
So, but if you have a qualifying event, you know, your wife or whoever husband loses a job, then that's a qualifying event. You need insurance. You could change that. So, but that's the recommendations from the insurance committee, so we have it on the floor. Any other questions? And I will say that the members on the committee, EMS, Sheriff's Department, thought this was really a good step as far as us being more and more competitive with counties around us. So, any other comments? We'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all. Plum Creek budget. have anything? All good, Brittany? All right, we'll do that another time. Okay, now, in old business, I'm gonna run through, the first three. Corey, I'll just kind of put all three of them on your shoulders. Thank you, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Here's a Mountain Dew.
All right, so Sweezy Lane donation, reviewing that and finalizing one. It's just making sure that the pins are accurate. The proposed legal description that we had compared to the map, there was a question, so I'm talking to Mr. Sweezy's attorney about that. Animal shelter policy update, is that in the packet?
No.
No, it's not. I do have a question about that.
About Sweezy Land or animal shelter?
Animal shelter.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so on the euthanasia policy, the wording including but not limited to health and temperament, that's a pretty broad statement as to why you can euthanize a dog. I would like for it to just stick to the fact that we said health and temperament, not whatever other judgment we decide we should euthanize a dog. So, and then on the second page, it's kind of...
So eliminating the judgment of the veterinarian only...
No, just eliminating the including but not limited to
right,
health
I'm
and
saying
temperament. Yeah.
Veterinarian for reasons other than health and temperament.
I don't know why a veterinarian would decide to euthanize a dog.
That's why it's in there.
Okay. And then on the back, it's where the holding period of 7 business days, and then it said after the 7-day holding period, unclaimed animals will be evaluated for adoption, transfer, or last resort euthanasia. Our euthanasia policy says 14 days. So I think that should also be 14 days.
I don't think the euthanasia part should be in that category.
That was for it, was specifically for a stray.
Yeah, but if we're saying in the euthanasia policy that we're gonna hold the dog for 14 days, we shouldn't then say, well, but if we get a stray, they only get 7 days. So that should be a minimum of 14 days also.
I think if everything's consistent, it's easier to remember. It's easier to enforce.
Hey, Dan, we did sit down and kind of go over that policy again, and Corey
we're
was able to
moving
redline
it
a bunch of
back.
stuff. But
Which is all you can have the road.
Well, I talked to you and I was busy, but I don't understand why neither one of us was there.
because I forgot.
But hey, you're smarter than that.
But he was able to finish that, we just couldn't get it in the packet in time.
Okay.
So I'll email it out. I'd like you all to look it over.
All right, well, those are the only 2 changes that I really saw, that other than he left an E off care, and it says car.
See, there was, yeah, I don't know if that's the most, because there was also, it was the caption on that holding period that was specifically for a straight holding period, so I may have not gotten the most up-to-date edition, because I noticed the E on car, because that was a question of the media, like car, like, what, you know, that's not what that was, it was supposed to be care. So we'll send out the newest version.
Okay, and like I said, as long as the holding period shouldn't be less than the euthanasia policy.
And we,
yes, it says, yeah, animal control officer, assistant animal control officer, and a member of the animal shelter committee must approve the euthanasia.
we'll have a goal to have this in print in your packet next meeting. That sound good?
I thought it was supposed to be 2 days, to be honest.
Well, it's taking a little longer.
I wasn't here last meeting.
There was also the meeting with the animal control officer in the state too, so I mean, that was, you know, it's in the works. I mean,
I ain't putting it all on you.
No, I'm
But part of it on you.
just for clarification purposes, so. Anyway.
All right.
Keep changing things.
All right, sounds good. Any other questions on any of those three? And thank you, Corey, for.
You were there. You weren't there.
No, we did see you go down the road. I think I tried texting you, but anyway,
Yeah. Go on.
here.
I don't like Mountain Dew, you're gonna do better than that.
All right, the tourism funding, I don't know that I have anything in here. We'll discuss that in the budget. All right, next, archive social renew. I know we had, this on page 54, we had a few questions about this. And
Ms. Vito.
Brittany, if you would, tell us what all this is.
Okay. So, this says Civic Plus, it's Archive Social, but basically this is a service that we've been paying for a few years now. In order for the sheriff's office to maintain their accreditation, we have to be actively archiving all of our social networks. So that includes all of the, and there was an agenda cover, she haven't looked up to it. It includes K9 Spencer, the sheriff's office, the Spencer County EMS, Spencer County Emergency Management, tourism, and our animal shelter Facebook pages. It archives every like, comment, share, post, for open records, open meetings purposes. So should someone get on there, make a threatening message, or should someone accuse us of censoring and deleting comments, we have everything archived and we can easily provide a report. So I'm not saying that this is the best company or the end-all be-all. This is just a renewal of what we currently use.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Zach, seconded by Dan to approve the Civic Plus bid for archiving at $46.61.24 for a year. $43.97. No,
We pay no taxes on
that's right. We take the tax off. Yep. $43.97.40. Thank you all. All right. Any discussion?
it. Question.
Yes.
Are these people that maintain our Spencer County webpage?
No, they're not. This is a separate company. Revise maintains our webpage.
Who is it?
Revise. It used to be Get Set Graphics, and Sue Schaefer retired, and so we recently switched.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all of you for catching that tax. I didn't catch it. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, new business. We've already done number one. Go ahead.
Chairman Crawford Jones.
No.
We passed it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see him in the crowd, and he didn't have anything, so we'll reach out, maybe get him next time. All right, down to number 2, on new business. We have to vote on both of these. If you see the first one, page 58, 59, 60, 61, that's the courthouse annex. It's basically the agreement that we have with AOC. So we'll need to vote to approve entering in with them on this.
Is that one vote for all of them, or we gotta do it separate?
Well, I was gonna do them separate. I don't know if that's necessary, but it'd be totally clean.
Yep.
Is all this one talks about square footage, is that a yearly amount?
Doug, help me on this one. You know, the annex, we get
Like page 59?
everything. Yeah, well, 60.
Well, no, mine is 59, what I'm talking about, where this says net function, Port of Justice Space, 3,900 square feet, $4,590. Is that a yearly?
Well, look on the next page. The annual reimbursement to us is $35,490.
Yeah, I think that page 2, but that's
Even looking into the reports currently, it gets kind of confusing because of the reimbursements, like where they paid on the courthouse roof, certain things like that, we put it in our payments from AOC.
See, that's like 55,000.
We received 152,000.
All if you do is $6.
Well, I just went off to 45.90. It says, tells you the square footage and the total allowance. But I don't really understand this whole thing, so.
Total net building space is 3970 square feet. I don't get that. No matter, we're getting money back.
How much did we get, Doug, to take you a minute to look that up? How much did we get from them last year?
Last year we budgeted 80,000.
But that's
But
total.
we received 152,000.
Yeah, that's because of roofs and stuff.
We had roof and some courthouse bench stuff, different things like that.
Of course, this one's just on the annex.
Fighting with them about it.
What's their fight about?
Not
They just don't
answering.
show up, they'll come back and fix it, still leaking, they come back and looked at it one time, and I've reached out to them several times. I looked this morning, it's still leaking.
But basically, we're voting to enter into agreement with AOC. I can't tell you how to.
I'll make a motion that we enter into the agreement with the state on the Spencer County Annex, where that stated.
All right, we have a motion by Jim, seconded by Zach, to enter into agreement with AOC on the annex for the operating this year. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Next is the courthouse. And again, when we have to do, well, the annex, we're getting ready to vote on the air conditioning equipment for the annex. Because it quit, right?
It's been out for 2 weeks.
So we'll get reimbursement on that, and that'll affect that amount of money, but we have to have a contract with them.
If you have 3 quotes and if they approve it.
Yes. Yeah. And we do, so, we do have the quotes, I guess we can't make them approve it.
Yeah.
But,
Just turn the air off.
I guess it's off now.
So it's about to get a whole lot hotter.
Yeah, the bookkeeping and judge's office, so.
Yeah, shut them off.
Yes.
But the next on our agenda would be the AOC agreement with the courthouse.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Jim, seconded by Zach, to enter into the AOC agreement on the courthouse reimbursement. Any discussion? That goes through page 65. All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, next, and Daniel, if you would, just come up to the podium, because we're going to hit you up on a lot of stuff. We've been discussing getting the key fobs and all that, and maybe automatic locks and everything on the doors of the courthouse. And now we have a conclusion here. And Dan, we have this bid.
Yes.
So which this is not part, this wouldn't be part of the AOC.
Right. That's, well, it is upstairs also for the courtroom upstairs in the judge's chambers. So it's kind of 2 doors downstairs and then the rest is upstairs.
Did we get 3 bids on just this?
No, that's the only one we got for that.
Okay, so for us to get reimbursement for the upstairs, we'll have to get 2 more bids.
You would have to have the companies separate
them out.
What is AOC and what's not.
Why would it not be all protection?
Because it's the front door and the back door downstairs, but then it's the courtroom upstairs, and then a command center downstairs where everything's controlled.
Well, all
Let's
that
say you can go in.
upstairs.
Well, I don't disagree, other than it's for 6 days a month, but I do agree with you, Will. We probably do need to get 2 more bids to try to get.
I think you could argue that this is all inclusive with courthouse security, even upstairs. I mean, you know, somebody could find a device or something on the other days that they ain't used, you know, if you don't have the security or whatever, you know.
And that's the time locks downstairs, to open them at 8 o'clock, shut them off at 4:30, or on Saturdays when she's open.
And that's all controlled off an iPad or whoever the administrator is.
This, we have been battling this for months. I mean, trying to get folks to come out, and it's been a war. But we probably do need to get 2 more bids so we can charge it to AOC.
Okay.
And I would just like to add here, AOC will come out and they do audits of all of our ledgers on what we bought at the courthouse versus what AOC, they reimburse a percentage of each, one's 100% and one is like 50. I bought a new internal hard drive for the cameras that were upstairs. For the security, they deemed it an ineligible expense. It was like $45, and they denied it. As ridiculous as that is.
Would you, if you approach them on this and say, hey, look, this is half on us, half on you, we don't have 3 bids, I mean, are they so set in concrete that they won't?
Yeah, Becky Robinson said one time they denied her a printer for her office because they said she could walk her print. I still haven't heard back about courthouse payment orders, and that's been sent off how long ago.
We have to pay for the video security type stuff for the court arraignment, but you would think that would be an AOC expense.
Either way, I'm sure this is a pain to get bids on.
Yeah, how difficult will it be to do this?
Keep calling people to try to get people.
Well, I mean, get them separated too, you know.
Right, and I can get back, those guys are real good to work with. They'll probably separate it somehow, but I don't know
Well,
how you do it.
15
Training
grand.
system.
We can make some phone calls for 15 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost think you try to leave the whole about it and maybe a less chance to get it.
I mean, we're trying to keep this going to reach a security outcome that's positive.
Right.
And like I said, you guys, it's been
Not unless you do the downstairs a separate bid and the whole upstairs tie in later or something, because he said that system is compatible with a bunch of different things they could add on later. If you want to approach it that way. That way AOC would be completely separate maybe.
And I've personally escorted 2 different companies around to look at the locks. I've called 2 other companies that we use to install the cameras in the courthouse that we currently use, and I still can't get a call back. You would think people would want to come out and do it. It would be nice.
But we'll try, and next meeting, we'll hope to have them. And I mean, I'll probably, let's put it back on the agenda next meeting, because, you know, I mean, at some point, we gotta evaluate. We need them to reimburse us, but if they're not, what do we want to do?
Are these, I got this more question about this. Is this gonna be new doors or using the existing doors?
Existing doors, everything existing, except the equipment that goes on it, and everybody gets a key fob, like Brittany or Scott, or whoever can assign anybody a key fob so they can go in after hours. And it also reads who came in and when they left.
And it has automatic locks.
Yes.
Right?
It's automatic locks on every door, even the courtroom up there, but the sheriff or whomever he wants can have it and they can override it.
I mean, basically, for $15,000, we would know every person going in and out of the courthouse.
With the key fob.
Yeah,
After hours.
after hours.
Or even during hours, if you have the fob on you, it lets you know I went in and when I left or whatever.
We did bring a quote to court once before, several months ago, and it was $25,000.
Yeah.
So you have 2, one more.
Okay. We can get that one again.
And that's putting the command center down in that little storage area where we talked about putting cameras in that, so it would be operated down there. So during court, whoever's down there could see.
And again, like he just said, this goes along with what we're trying to do for court security with the metal detectors coming in. And I need to go ahead, we've got a little difference of story than we had 3 weeks ago. We were gonna put a new door in the back outside the elevator, move it out. And that was gonna be like thousands and thousands.
10,000 or more.
So, but the folks came out and said I didn't think we could move that door successfully. But they gave Dan an assurance that they could move it successfully for a couple 2,200 or something,
2200.
and guaranteed to be just like new. So I went ahead and was supposed to do that this week, Thursday. And Daniel took the top down and made sure the top was all ready. They're gonna do it in one day. Now, we didn't discuss, it won't have the push button for handicap like we.
It's just gonna be exactly.
It'll be exactly what we have, but it'll be moved out to where the metal detector will fit in there, which is what Becky's group and the sheriff and everybody wanted us to accomplish.
Is that door, can you install the panic lock on the push button?
Yes. Yes, you can add stuff.
Okay, the door itself, you can
Yes.
hang it.
Well, now, we already got the automatic lock coming on that door.
Right. It was supposed to be in here 2 weeks ago, and the guy reached out and I asked him if he would wait until we moved this door, that way we could do it then. That's just on that one door.
But I mean, even with the lock on it, are we required to have that push from the inside?
It has it.
Okay.
It has it on
Yeah,
there.
it has it already. I mean, it's just like this door.
Okay, gotcha.
But it just, we don't have that push handicap if you're outside.
Right.
The automatic doors.
The automatic, we don't have that. But that's what we got on that. So we'll get more quotes on that. All right,
Do you all want that separate, or try to, for the downstairs stuff?
do your best, but we'll see what we can get. I'm not gonna hold my breath.
I still think AOC's gonna look at it, the three doors of the two front doors, front and back of the courthouse, right? And then the elevator, they're all still access to the courthouse.
And
So
it's
I
also
would
the
think,
judge's chambers and the courtroom chambers upstairs.
as far as being broke down, I don't think it would make that much of a difference. It just,
I think we should just have them bid the whole thing.
Right.
If we gotta navigate it later, or someone who doesn't, I'm sure we
They can
guys can
break it
break
down.
down their bill,
Yeah.
separate it.
I mean, it shouldn't be an issue for them to say it's gonna be this much for this lot, this much for that lot, then we can break it down after.
Yeah, we can buy all the cards if we desire. But,
All right.
anyway, so that's it. Next on number 4, annex HVAC quotes, page 69. Dan, I'll just turn that over to you. We've got, what do you recommend?
They have 4 units over there, and one of them's completely out, it's shot. That one was put in 1993, that unit. And it's the old Freon, so it's not compatible with the new stuff. So,
You got a recommendation on these? I mean, I went through it and I seen that Total Solutions was it.
Total Solution was the Whites, Martin's.
Old company.
He sold
And they're
out
putting
the
the training
back
in
of
it.
it. They have been great to work with as far as getting them out here. They're usually here within 30 minutes to an hour. They answer your calls. They're in Fisherville. The other two is like tooth and nails, just getting some other quotes.
What kind of, how many tons is there unit?
It's a 3.5 ton unit. And I think
Training unit.
yes. And that one was, everything was installed in 93. I think the compressor was changed in, I think it's 04.
If you look through
The
there.
one was cheaper than I was saying, it's 3.5 ton single stage, 15 seer, amazing, but I mean,
Yeah, page 76 is the.
What size is their Total Solutions?
3.5 tons. On the page he just said it breaks
And
down for
that's
bid.
the inside, outside unit, new thermostat, everything.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, page 76 is Total Solutions bid, which is.
Mazer, is that big outfit on the wall?
Yeah.
Which is,
And on high.
And Don Howard, they're both out there.
Daniel's recommendation is Total Solutions for
They've been
$10,677.
they've been really, really good work.
I make a motion to hire Total Solutions to replace the AC at the annex building at $10,677.07.
Second. All right, have a motion by Will, seconded by Zach to approve the HVAC replacement at the annex for Total Solutions at an amount of $10,677.07. Any discussion?
The only thing that, like these other ones, like Donhar has 10-year parts and warranty, parts and labor warranty. Total Solutions only had a 5-year parts warranty. So 5-year labor covers those other parts.
Yeah, well, 10-year registered parts warranty.
Train.
Yeah,
Train does.
Train does.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it,
The Don hire, you have to get the equipment labor warranty, you got 10 years, and they, long client maintenance, as long as the client maintenance.
they have a lot of stipulations.
Yeah, they probably have to do service on it to keep it warm.
They do, yes.
do we have a good system in place with Daniel or somebody now about changing like filters and stuff?
I check them every month, first of every month.
I figure
And we've been
you gotta go online.
I do the fire extinguishers and the filters first of every month. I just do them Friday.
Do we have a 6-month contract like with one of these companies that comes in and checks
No,
your system?
in place like that.
How long they last?
The service on there.
One of the first things Daniel did was, I said, order every filter in this whole county, put it on your shelf, get a whole box full of them, at least have 3 or more, and he's got them somewhere, I forget where I saw them. And so monthly, he's checking the fire extinguishers and the furnace filters, every month.
They're typically 3-month filters, but you still check them every month, and some of them has not been changed, but it's pretty fair.
You're gonna say, for you to look into having at least once a year, because if they come in and they can find a freon leak before your system gets contaminated, then.
A lot of units, so it'd be
That's true.
company that'd give you a good deal on price. There's just 22 filters just on the top of the courthouse and 3 units.
Question. All right, question's been called for, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Next on the agenda is the senior citizen HVAC. Go ahead, Daniel, on it.
That is in there, that's the unit that operates the kitchen and the big meeting room where the seniors do all their stuff, their exercises, games, wellness visits, all that. 7.5 ton commercial.
And it had been there since
91. Both those, they have 2 units over there, both those were installed, I'm assuming, I talked to Doug, things on that, when that was built.
So we can plan on replacing another unit over there soon.
It's pretty bad too, but that's just offices. This is, there's a lot of old units in all these buildings. So, and the bad thing is, with the new Freon system, you have to replace it all pretty much.
Motion to approve Total Solutions for 21-305-61.
Second. I already have a motion by Jim, seconded by Mike, to approve the Total Solutions for the HVAC at the Senior Citizen Center for 21-305-61. Any discussion? And also chime in, they said they'd get to it right away.
Yeah, they said the 3.5 ton they have in stock, commercial, and they should have this in a few days. So we just gotta let them know.
Yeah, very good chance that by the end of the week, maybe we can have these fixed. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, surplus county property.
Go ahead, Jim. I'm sorry. No.
Oh, no, he's got one more. Tell us about these windows.
Oh, there's just 2 old windows they took out of some building over there. It's in the Parks building over there.
I mean, are they decent or they need to go in the dumpster?
What the hell are we gonna get out of 4 windows?
You're probably not gonna get nothing out of them.
Donate
as far
them
as,
to Habitat for
unless you do donate them to Habitat.
That's what I was
Or
saying.
something.
Donate them.
And that.
All right, gonna make a motion.
They're decent windows, they're not broke, but.
We didn't do no good selling the toppers, did we? I don't think we sold.
Just that lid, or the drawer system.
Sold the topper, didn't.
Well, they had them upside down, I got on David. I said, you didn't have them. Me and Brian laid them up there right, and they flipped them over.
Well, maybe the wind blew them over. I saw them laying, I didn't know what they were.
Yeah, that's the problem, you couldn't tell.
But,
I donate them if you can't donate to a dumpster.
So I'll make a motion that we donate these windows to Habitat for Humanity or what's the other one?
or some charitable organization. All right, have a motion by Dan, seconded by Zach, that we donate these windows to Habitat or another charitable organization to be used. If not, we'll throw them in the garbage. That's what Dan said.
Yeah.
All right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right. Yes, yes, ma'am. Yeah, we're good now, Dan.
No,
Seal and strike.
Yeah.
Hang on for the seal and strike.
Seal and strike.
Yeah, switch and spin, seal and strike.
One for part.
I'll stay.
That's Brad. I may remember.
That's Brad.
Y'all had switch and spin when y'all was in school.
Well, I get you,
You had a wheel.
third decade.
Switch and spin.
I never heard of one of them.
If they give you a couple fluoride, you can just switch around, sit it out and look.
Mr. Hagan lines you up in front of the chalkboard, and they come off the end of the train, and they go back to the steps and hit fluoride in.
Like a fluoride mouthwash, everybody had it done. They did, you know,
I don't remember much.
I'll measure them. I'll see.
Seal and strike, switch and spin, and
I wrote them down.
and then the parents that didn't give the note for the kids, and everybody else up there. And he makes the switch, he makes the switch, you know, for seconds.
over there.
Because they're double. Yeah, they're double windows.
Remember the name?
Yeah,
They're not bad windows.
yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking it's the same boat.
It's the same one.
Well, Scott was talking about the other day, and I said, well, they were cheap, I remember they were cheap anyway, but they didn't have any jobs, so it's still the same thing. So I thought-
No, but the other night he told me that he said he probably won't get it
Like he called for
So he says he has it done. He just.
Most of the actually, it takes longer than
That's why we get paid for it, I don't know if he's turned any tax paperwork yet. That's on him.
Our part now, I think is gonna be dealing with trying to get to Waterford Park where it's not people.
Nothing else off.
True. Because even during the week,
Getting paid.
there's people that share a ride,
Put in the right number.
park there.
You think we can put a sign up there saying, the park will be, inconvenienced this day for restriping?
I think you're gonna have to just rope it off like,
Well, they did it
like the day
on,
before.
as I don't say, they did it on the weekend, but that's when everybody's there, but, I mean.
Well, now the soccer season started, you can't do it all week.
Right. But what we've done at Waterford is a lifesaver.
I mean, there were still 25 cars parked in the grass the other day, but
Now,
at least they wasn't out by the road, they just went on past.
restripe the whole thing.
There ain't no, well, this is just.
They're gonna reseal it all and restripe it.
Well, I don't think you're gonna seal the new part. You're gonna seal the old part and strike the
Well, I
whole
mean, they're
thing.
gonna strike the whole thing.
Yeah,
And reseal the whole thing.
Yes.
They're gonna seal the old stuff.
Yeah.
yeah,
Alright, that's what I was about to say, you don't really need to seal new asphalt, it actually takes a while to
yeah.
clear.
It's just the sealing the whole part.
Alright. That's the way I understood it, they'll reseal what needed it to be the whole part.
And then, I guess, I don't know if I didn't even call it recess, we just,
Well, I guess we just
we can
start.
keep talking, but,
We're good to go.
be out here. All right, we'll go ahead, you're up, Dan, then I'll excuse you, we get some I think, yeah. Appreciate it today. We have estimates to seal and strike Waterford Park, and we have one here on 85, and this is the outfit that did Ray Jewell. Do you have anything to add?
No, it's Brian was calling all over and getting those bids and stuff.
I move to, accept the bid for bid right paving to,
Just one question, are gonna be one cover sewer or two?
I'm getting ready to say that.
Okay. Says one coat.
We just discussed it a second ago.
Yeah.
There's two different prices, but I guess he's gonna tell us.
Yeah.
To accept the bid for bid right paving for the total amount of $8,075 to seal coat and crack fill the old portion of Waterford Park's parking lot and then restripe the entire parking lot, old and new, in its entirety.
I'm confused with your.
They're gonna seal and fix
Price
the whole
number
part,
one.
and then they're gonna reseal it all, the first one.
With one coat?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, one coat on the old part, and then strike the whole thing.
Yeah, and y'all are sure that's, cause it just says seal coat parking lot, doesn't say over, which they're not gonna seal coat, but then it just says and restrip lot.
Well, I think it's after it's all black, they're gonna restripe the whole thing, that's the way I understood it.
Yeah, and I I was just making sure that's what this bid is for.
Well, I know, I agree with you, and I know for a fact Brian understood it, because we discussed it at length. Because that's about what we paid to do Ray Jewell, wasn't it? Was it about 80?
That's why I was just curious, because square footage wise, if you had, I wonder how, that's
I don't know how
probably.
they add, I don't know how they add up.
What are big?
I think
That Jewel's pretty
that
big.
price.
It's pretty big if you look at it.
All jewels is long, it just.
That's why I said they're probably pretty comparable, that's why.
Let's just make this contingent, if he's sorry, his motion, that it's under the understanding.
Contingent, they're gonna do all of it.
Go ahead. Do we need to have that in writing over from them, because the price one, seal coat parking lot with one coat of sealer, okay, crack fill, and restriped lot, is that lot, or is that coat lot? I mean, you know.
I took it as it was.
Well, no, you took it, but I mean.
Well, I mean, we could just,
How do they take it?
well, I don't care, we could rescind the whole thing and come back 2 weeks.
No,
I think we should do your motion contingent, that it's on what we.
Well, that's all I mean.
What we expect.
Yeah.
I mean, the agreement is, they're gonna what we expect is they'll seal the old part and strike the new end over.
Yes.
Right.
For the 8,075.
Right, if it's not the case, we'll have to revisit it to it.
Right.
And it's, I mean, I think my motion can move forward, we'll just have Brian double check it. If that's not, then we just won't do it.
Right.
We'll rescind this.
We'll void it if it's not that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're good on that. So to get a second,
Yeah.
we got it on the floor. While we're having discussion, you all tell me about this. If I would like, this is just me, and y'all agree or disagree, it's fine. Instead of having the parking lots straight at 90-degree angles where you park, we could have them at an angle where the traffic goes in and you just pull in and back out and you continue around. And then, of course, and then in the center, you have something similar.
I think you ask the bid right people, they'll have experience on how many parking spaces that you get versus straight versus 45.
I agree with Mike, I would just tell them.
It's their,
the best.
I just feel like they'd be the experts on it. It's like, I want the most parking spaces that I can fit in here. Now, whether they need to be 45 or 90, let them make the decision.
Do we want the most, or do we want the easiest accessible?
Well, being that you still got people parking in the
I
grass.
was
I
a
would go with
most,
the
because we
most.
still got 20 people parking in the grass last Monday.
Okay.
That was just my opinion.
I think that 45 would be a pain there, because you pull in, you parked at 45 and away from the playground, right?
Well, the idea is, some shopping centers, I think Walmart parks at angles. That way, if you're in your four-door
But they're
truck,
directional,
you just pull in.
but they're H lane is
So if you're going the
directional.
wrong way, you can't get in.
Well, you have to have arrows.
Or you got back to it.
You have to have arrows to make it directional.
I'm just telling you, for 10 years of traffic director law enforcement, you can do all the directions you want, nobody will follow.
I think you just ask bid right for a motion, is my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, we'll do that. All right, any other discussion?
There ain't gonna be but more and more people coming to that park.
That's true. But I'm very proud of the actions we've done there in, 14 months? We've really improved that place.
Good.
So, all right, any other discussion on the bids? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Now we're done, Dan, thank you.
Hey Doug, can you ask Doug if there's money in that account, if it needs transfer?
Hey Doug, is there money in that account or is it
He can't
transfer?
hear me.
No.
You don't know.
We'll figure it out by the time we get to the transfer.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, changes to nuisance mowing procedures, it's not in there.
Okay.
But, I'll go ahead and get it started. I know Corey and Ashley in Julie's office are working on, getting some stuff together where if a yard in someone's neighborhood has been neglected, that we would get a procedure together where we would hire a mowing company, not us, a mowing company that has their own insurance to come in and mow it and then put a lien on the property and then possibly mow it once again in the fall, just 2 mowings, not monthly or weekly mowings. But that way the neighbors on either side are not looking at a jungle and hurting property values and inviting critters and that kind of thing, so.
So what
They're
is the
looking
change?
into
Because
that.
the county's been doing that forever. Dan Keeney called and tell you to mow it.
Yeah, I mean, we do have procedures in there, but are you?
Well, also-
Making you all strict or what?
So our ordinance that's in place, and the one prior to that said mowing has to happen 3 times a year.
Right.
And so, I mean, that gives them the opportunity to do their own mowing, but more than anything, this is just to get those that become a nuisance to individuals when, you know, somebody, either the house goes in foreclosure, they just, you know, simply won't mow, whatever it may be. It just gives us something where we can step in and do something to alleviate, you know, the aggravation to the neighbors and the community.
And we don't have anything in place for that.
We do, and I mean, Corey might be able to explain how the one that we have now works. The one we used to have, it became a thing where, back when Jane Keeney worked with me, you know, she got to where she would do the process and file liens herself. You know, that we could do that through the office, and then it became a little bit of a deeper process of so many notifications more than what we had done originally, and now there's verbiage in there that it has to prove that it's causing, I don't know if it's harm or whatever it is to the neighbors, you know, to be able to get it moved forward. We just need something in place where we can get something to move a little faster. I mean, we got 1 yard specifically in this county that's not been mowed in 3 years.
So this is not
And I got the whole neighborhood.
a fixing of it, this is a replacement of it.
Amendment. And the other thing too, just for the court to be aware of, is the budgetary allowance for that. Because obviously there most likely will be more than just one property, but, and, you know, the likelihood of recouping that is if we're gonna have to put a lien on the property, there's no telling when that property is gonna be sold and when we'll be able, if ever, to recover that money. So that's just something to consider. I know, in addition to, the budget proposal, just making sure that that's.
I still think it ought to be 3 times instead of 2.
Yeah.
You still have jump in the middle here.
From experience, having a house that was in foreclosure for 2 years.
Where are we in that Saddle Grove deal?
Very well, there you go.
That's it.
So, I mean, and that's the thing, you know, and we would try to make sure, I mean, at the time we did a thing out for bids, Daniel Harden used to be our person that did the mowing, and we would just, you know, we'd get in touch with him and say, hey, can you go get this one done for us? And he would go, you know, and do the mowing. But we tried to be smart about when we had it mowed, so that, yeah, it would get taller than your ankles, you know, but at least it wouldn't get waist high for the whole summer.
So is there something that's written down that we can make a motion to approve?
Not yet, but we're getting closer.
What are we asking for here? We just talking about it?
Yes.
Oh,
I say get something in writing and let's get it done.
let's do it quick.
All right.
It's something to find us a little faster
Yeah, grass
relief
is growing.
for people than,
Huh?
Yeah.
we just want something that will give a little bit quicker relief to people than the long, drawn-out
Yeah,
process
sure.
that it,
Yeah.
you know.
I've been
has.
trying to get my constituents for some relief in Saddlebrook since I took office in January last year. So, let's get something drawn up.
All right, all right. We'll note that and get that done. It'd be good if we can have that next meeting also. So, all right, next is the appointment to fill a vacancy on the Flood Levy Commission, page 87 in your book. There was one position that no one applied for that left a vacancy, and we don't want it to be, don't want any place to be underserved and underrepresented or not represented at all. So we have 2 names of property owners in District 3. So I'll just,
I'll make a motion,
Go ahead.
Dwayne Hume, which I know him personally, good guy, to fill that position.
all right.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Jim, seconded by Dan, to appoint Dwayne Hume to the Flood Wall Commission, Levy Commissioner. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
Nay.
All right, motion passes. Next is appointment to fill a vacancy on the Library Board of Trustees, page 88 and page 89. Guess we can do those together. I didn't make a recommendation on the one we just did, but I will on these two, Jan Nemus and Robert Black, would be the two that I would like to appoint, and I'll make a motion to appoint those two to the library board.
Second.
All right, have a motion by myself, seconded by Zach, to appoint Jan Nemus and Robert Black to the library board trustees. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, next.
Second on that, I'm sorry.
Me.
All right. Yeah, sorry about that, Lynn. That passed. So, next on the agenda is we have to need an appointment for the tax board of assessors. And I would we have in the book here what the KRS says about that. And you need someone with real estate experience, as it says here in the KRS, or at least value, real estate appraisals.
Motion to approve Josh Long to the committee.
All right.
Tax board.
Second.
All right, have a motion by Zach, second by Will, to appoint Josh Long to the tax board of assessors. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Next is EMS estimate on Med 4. It's on page 94. And when I got an ambulance in the broken down, not in service, I get all tore up and anxious about it. But anyway, we're not down to the one ambulance like we was one time last year.
Well, they gonna put a whole front end on it?
Looks like it.
The whole thing, they did. Like, why just put the two cars on and say place it off?
So anyway, this is a bid we have.
I just wonder why, like, do we need a whole control arm and not just the ball joint?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking.
That's what I'm saying, like, is the ball joint bad, or did we fall off the road?
Well, it says on here that the manufacturer recommends removing the rack and pinion, so.
I'll make a motion that we approve arteries for 420362 to do the repairs.
All right.
I would like to mention, I'll second it, but I'd like to mention that I'd like to see more than one estimate.
I would say the same thing. We only got one estimate on this, and it's not the company that normally works on our ambulances, so.
Well, he's worked on them, I mean, but that new company we found out in, Smithfield or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he just do the bodies and stuff though?
Well, yeah,
I think he's more or less
yeah, they mostly do the ambulance bodies and not necessarily the stereo.
The way that Chris talked did it all, they did everything.
Well, I think we need to get more than one estimate on anything that we do,
Yeah.
which we're getting away from that, I believe.
I don't disagree with you.
2 or 3.
I know it's hard to get quotes.
Shop downtown does all the fish and wildlife.
Yeah. I think we need to get more estimates, and I just, this just raises questions, like, has there been such an extreme lack of maintenance here? Or did they run over like another car?
Well, it's got 218,000 miles on it.
Why do I never see bills he just said maintenance? I don't know that I ever see bills. Maintenance on the, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Do we have a process in place for that, or? I ain't never seen an oil change.
Not since Gary Day left, I don't think we haven't.
And then another thing, like,
I think we should think about finding another Gary Day.
I agree totally.
Well, one thing
If it ain't getting done, we need to.
We are getting it done.
Where?
We're getting it done at Daughtry, why do you say?
Well, the only reason why
I've never seen a bill for oil change.
The only reason I say is we've got regular maintenance records, he was married from Miracle Vehicles to fix stuff faster.
we do maintenance, we do oil changes.
Not by the looks of this front end here.
But one thing about going to Smithfield is you're gonna have 2 guys spend a morning taking it over. Then you gotta send 2 guys to go get it and bring it back. And then we've had an ambulance over at a place and they stole their catalytic converter, if you guys remember. Up at Daughtry's, they lock them inside. That's what I've been told. I hope they better still be. So, I mean, there's advantages and disadvantages.
Well, I'll vote yes, this is, I don't want to see our ambulance sitting there, but I think we need more questions and more bids.
I'm not gonna vote for something, we only got one bid. We're setting the precedence here, we're getting away from, we had everybody bringing in 3 bids, and now we let 2 or 3 people do 1 bid, and next thing you know, we're gonna have to get nothing done, because we have to tell everybody to come back.
All right, well, we got a motion by Jim, what was that thing we used to do? We got a motion by, sorry, motion by Jim, I think it was seconded by Zach to approve this for Daughtry's. So we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
No.
No.
All right, 2, 4 to 2.
Who were those?
Me and Dan.
So it passes, but it is noted, Brittany, we'll make sure we get more than 1 bid, even on the ambulances. And that's good business, guys. When they give it to me, I talk to them about it. They give it to me the other day.
Well, he had time for the other day. He had time to get another.
Well, it was like Thursday, and but I mean, again, we got an ambulance broke down, but thank the Lord that we're not down to 1. I mean, if we'd been down to 1 ambulance and they could have fixed this in 1 day, I would have done it, and I would have just took the whooping. I'd have just took the whooping from y'all.
I'm sorry, you can do that in emergency powers.
Keep in mind, when it comes to people that can work on our ambulances, the alternative is usually Atlantic, and we've had a lot of problems with them recently that we send stuff off and they come back with an additional quote.
So it's,
Like I said, we have a lot of repair shops, and I know this one down here, because I've used it before, they do all fish and wildlife vehicles.
The
So.
thing about it is, you used to just get an ambulance in any repair shop. You gotta have.
No, but I mean, the basic chassis is a truck. It's a Ford.
I know, but get.
Chassis.
People have literally enough to get an ambulance in.
I mean, but there's Daughtry's, there's that places you talked about, Edmonds, Stony's, I mean, I can just go on and on.
I mean, in town, we've got Watson's and Packard.
Yeah. And they might be willing to work on it too.
All right, well, we made a motion and voted, so let's move
All
on.
right, we'll move on. All right, next is replace the flooring in the county clerk's office. It's on page 96.
What is it?
I ain't got a clue, I've never seen it.
Carpet tiles,
What's it for? Land?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, it's in the county clerk's office.
What, have you seen this?
Yes.
What is that for?
It's to replace the floor in the office where the deputies are and where the customers are. The floor that's in there has chipped, it's in horrible condition. And, what's his name?
Frank Nix.
Frank Nix came and gave us a quote to replace the laminate with carpet tiles like what's in here. In fact, I think it's the exact same floor.
Now, didn't we just have that floor, or some of that floor replaced just a few months ago?
No, it's been more than a few months.
Well, I mean, how long ago?
Couple of years.
I thought we just did a
I thought this court did it.
We did countertops.
We did countertops on the floor. The last court, Tim might have done it.
I just don't like carpet tiles, because with that much traffic on them, they're gonna start.
Did he say anything like about putting the LVL down or something? I mean, it's waterproof,
Well,
Saturday.
the floor underneath it is the problem. It's
not
concrete,
very-
it's very uneven.
Yeah, but with the new laminate flooring, I mean, it's. got
LVL won't
such
stay
a-
together, not flat.
Well, but if you came by with backing already on it, it's very stable.
It'll come apart on any floor.
I don't like carpet just because it traps all the dirt and it's high dirt, it's high maintenance to keep it clean. But Mr. Nick said the good part of it is if it gets worn out, you can replace the tile. When you have that laminate, you have to replace the whole thing when it goes bad. And it looks horrible. We put mats down underneath the rolling chairs and that didn't work out. It's just, it's not a good floor.
I'm not arguing where the clerk's office needs or doesn't need to be carpeted, but I want more estimates.
Agreed.
I mean, we're talking almost $5,000.
Yeah. Just.
All right, anyone want to take any action, or you want to just request more estimates?
I mean, probably it's not an emergency.
All right, Lynn, if you could give us some more estimates. Next is the page 97, the jail contract. Darrell, thank you for
We should have bumped him up.
Being here,
I just thought if you had any questions, I'd be here before I could answer them.
yeah, I forgot, but I saw you sitting there and was glad to have you, and I wasn't even thinking about the jail contract. But, I read through it last night, and, I didn't see any, have we ever had to do this number 3 part, which basically, if somebody has to be moved and y'all can't get there, we pay them 30 an hour?
It's the way it's been for a long time.
That's nothing
In
new.
fact, I took the last year's contract, the one we're on now, and compared it to this contract, and there was only 2 differences. The jailer's name up in the top corner, and from 35 to 36.
Okay.
Will we also be signing agreements for the other jails too? Because I know we talked.
I'm gonna get at least 1 more, maybe 2 more.
Okay.
Bullitt County's not been willing to
Right.
step up and do what they need to do. Nelson County and LaRue County.
I know we talked about it, so we should expect more of these, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But this is gonna be the main housing place.
Right.
Nelson County can house 5 to the most 10, and LaRue County can have about the same thing, you know. And it was gonna be the same way with
Emergency
Bullitt County,
overflow
but,
first.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Refresh my memory, didn't, we were talking about paying $50?
They wanted to raise it to $50 to start with, and that's when I went out and tried to get estimates from Nelson, LaRue, and Bullitt. Nelson and LaRue still on board. I haven't heard anything from Bullitt in ages on it, you
I
know.
mean, do we need any more? I mean, just, I guess we do just.
Well, you never know when you might have to have somebody that, okay, they can't go to Shelby County because they got problems over, you know, suits or whatever, you know. I can't get the word to come out, but,
Now, Anderson used to go to Shelby, they quit them.
yeah, they're gonna be housing in Frankfurt.
But if you could get pulled, I mean, that's a closer drive than LaRue County, I would think.
Well, and LaRue County probably won't be using them many, but I don't think, it's not gonna cost us anything to have a contract.
Well, that's what I'm saying, yeah, so better safe than sorry, yeah.
And I mean, the idea is if we have some folks that's gonna be sitting a while, and we know we're not gonna need them very often, if they were in a cheaper house,
Yeah.
we would benefit
Nelson
from it.
has said they will do it cheaper than the 36, and I have quite a few that get sentenced to 179 days.
Right.
Most of them don't have to come back to court because they're court committed for 179 days. They would be ideal to go to Nelson County, and if that's full, take them to LaRue County, because I don't have to run back and forth on them.
Right.
I make a motion to renew the contract with the Shelby County Detention Center.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Will, seconded by Mike, to renew the contract with the Shelby County Detention Center for inmate housing. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. This, number 15, I don't have anything in your book about it, but last week we received 90-some plus thousand more opioid funds, and we can put those in the interest-bearing account. We did put that 50,000 from last year's opioid in there, and then we're still sitting on the balance. The only thing we had used the opioid money for was we bought a little Narcan, and now Narcan is free because the health departments, well, it ain't free because we pay taxes, but the health department is supplying Narcan with the Narcan boxes. So basically, we were discussing that since we got this other funding, that we ought to invest it, let it earn some interest.
Quick question, how's that work, like, can we spend the interest however we want, or does
No.
that go towards opioid too?
Yep, yep. My understanding is it all, but right now it's getting nothing, and we can get 5%. So,
We can't figure out where to spend the interest.
well, we're working on it. We are working on it. In fact, last Friday, I guess, Brittany, they had a meeting with the school system and the sheriff's department and trying to reach, and I think I wasn't there, but it was very positive as far as trying to come to a solution. Again, the opioid money, you can't use it to pay for stuff you're already doing. You can only use it for new stuff.
Can we use it for what y'all met about the other day?
Yeah.
Please,
Oh, we still don't know.
you're good.
So I did have a meeting last Friday with superintendent, all of the principals at the school and the sheriff's office to discuss the DARE program. This is something that was previously approved through the Board of Education and Fiscal Court. However, they didn't feel like it was done in the right manner and they had additional questions and they wanted input from the principals and not just the Board of Education. I think that we are all on the same page. This will be a part-time position through Joe Schmidt and the schools. She'll be working hand in hand with the SRO. They're going to be coming up with curriculum probably towards the end of May, and the opioid funds will be able to use towards that.
What do we have for opioid funds right now?
160 some odd thousand, is that right?
Probably over two. Oh, okay, good.
Well, I don't know how much is coming in, just looking at the report that I had last time.
You said we just got 90?
93 or 96?
We got 92,000, so it's on the bills today to transfer from the general fund to the opioid account.
On top of the 160 fund?
Well, no, there's about 120 or 30.
We got 250s and, yeah, before they did.
Well, we had about 130-ish, 120, 130. And now we got another 93 roughly, and we put 50 in the CD. So there's still 60, 70 sitting there. And now we got another 90.
Let's wonder what the estimated cost of that their program would be. If you could just beef up those funds in one account and you could just use the interest off that one, you know, to keep just paying that.
Well, she had submitted something before, but I can't remember how much that was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah,
It was 30 something, I think.
Was it? And it may even be less because they're not asking for as much right now, because they're trying to coordinate it in with what they're already doing. They've got like houses and clubs, everybody's got a tiger and like CES. So they're trying to figure out a way to not reinvent the wheel and incorporate that program in the stuff that they've already got going.
But basically, that money is sitting there, and you can't do anything with opioid. And the way the opioid works, I think I shared with you guys, if you spend it on X, you have to turn in a report, and there's like an advisory board that determines if X qualifies.
Right.
If it doesn't qualify and you spend $100,000 on it, you got to give $100,000 back to the drug companies.
It's almost like even though you think it's opioid, you probably need to have it double checked before you spend it.
Right. Yeah, and there's numbers to call to verify. So.
Well, I think we ought to go ahead and put those funds in the CD. I'm all about interest.
I'm all about
All free money.
that. Scott, I know with the health department meeting, that the health department talked about, maybe having a program that we could use some of that opioid money for. Did they ever get back with you on that?
You remember that song, a little less talk, a lot more action, something like that? There's a lot of talk, there's not a lot of action over there. And it's not local, it's a lot of it, it's district, but.
Yeah, that was one of the things that was good about it. They followed up because they could use money from a lot of different counties for that program.
And that was my challenge to them, is we need to expand on services. And then we need some advisement from them. I mean, that's the health department. You would think the health department would work and then say to the counties, we guarantee you this is good. Good thing that other water fountain catches the next county. That other one called it. But nonetheless, I mean, I really feel, and even if you put money in a CD, you could do probably you could negotiate a no penalty. If something were to come up and you need to draw it out, you wouldn't have a penalty to pay. But I mean, we could easily put $100,000 probably of opioid funds in a CD and still have 50 something left.
So
why not?
Well, that's what I'm saying. What do you got left?
So
what's the number? Is what I'm asking.
If you get the withdrawal, I know 3 months you break even.
And I can get 5. I think I can get 5.25 because I asked one of the bankers.
Well, I think in the last 6 months, we spent money out there to buy Narcan and stuff like that, so we should be good for a while, not have to pull out, so.
Well, until the DARE program, if we get it going.
But we're still.
Well, if we have to pull it out, we pull it out.
Yeah.
Penalty.
So what's the number?
As long as we can get it, as long as we can get a no penalty.
What's the number, Doug? How much money? I'm gonna make a motion, I don't even know how much money to put.
So, I mean,
Well, we were talking about 100,000, be pretty easy, and it'd still leave money there, if something comes up, we can use it for stuff, but that's not to say you couldn't go up to probably 125 to 150,000.
How much money, Doug?
Say 120.
125.
I wanna do it all I can.
Well, let's leave enough in
Well,
there.
it's first like 163,000, then we can still have $13,000, I'll put 150.
Well, we may need 30 to do this there, so how about all but 30?
Well, another thing is, long time ago, we agreed that we were gonna partner with the fire department and, put up Narcan. As fencing boxes that Chris was gonna, but I'll take that over.
We got that covered.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, the health department is supplying boxes and Narcan, and they're gonna keep them stocked.
What's your part?
We're going through Shelby County to do drug take-back boxes and things like that, so they've been ordered through the Shelby County office.
And you can put 250,000, I mean, and that
Slow
leaves
process.
probably 2,000 or 3,000 in there.
Okay, so not that.
There you go.
So just say 125,000.
Make a motion to move $125,000 from opioid money into CD.
And that would leave us, what, 30,000?
We don't know.
In cash.
Close.
You know, we will, it'd be enough to do their program without touching it.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mike, second by Jim to take 125,000 of our CD monies and put it into a CD, determined by the judge and the treasurer. Y'all good with that?
Put CDs in the CDs.
Opioid.
Opioid money in the CD.
All right, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
So, all right, I don't even know what it
I'm
says
expecting
now.
that CD money to CDs.
It's been a long meeting.
Okay, we getting
Been
there.
that long yet.
We've been longer.
All right, yeah. So, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Now we get into nitty gritty stuff. All right. If that wasn't nitty gritty enough.
I got something here about the road. Is that what you're gonna do?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, page 100 in your book, we had additional revenue, and when you have additional revenue, you have to tell DOG about it. And that's what's on page 100, 101, and 102. If you look on page 101, Doug and Brittany and Karen and Katie's got that spelled out. Basically, it's $974,782 additional dollars. Now, some of that is state grants. That's the biggest one there you see in the middle on page 101. Business licenses are up. The sheriff fee pooling is up. Of course, we've earned interest. Those are some of the bigger ones. Occupational tax, property tax is up. So basically, we'll have to do a budget amendment, and I'll need to entertain a motion to approve to do this budget amendment.
So moved.
All right, I have a motion by
Rock,
Mike,
paper, scissors.
second by Zach, to approve the budget amendment, and we will get it signed and sent in to DLG. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Question.
I'm sorry.
On page 101.
Yeah.
There, we've got account code on interest. There's two of them. They've got the same account code, one for 74,000 plus one for 18,900.
014801 is general fund interest, 024801 is road fund interest.
Gotcha, okay.
And then like, you know, what that is we have those in interest-bearing checking accounts.
Yep.
So we earned that revenue. Okay. So, all right, any other questions? Sorry about that, Dean. All right, now we'll vote again. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you for that. Now we're getting the big nitty gritty. The page 103, this is the budget, and that we would like to go ahead and get we'll spend all the time we need on this, guys. If we can go ahead, we have to approve it, or we have to approve this initially, and then DOG will have to sign it, and then we'll do a final approval later. I would like to, on page 103, you guys bear with me, I'll try to go through this, but we've got what this includes, and I'm going to spell it out as we go through it. But I've got you can see there on 103, the 3.4% pay raise for the jailer and coroner. Last year, the jailer and the coroner, we did not give a pay raise at all. We missed it because, of course, I'll take blame for that. We were all learning how it works, and I was learning how it works, and we didn't pick them up. But the judge, clerk, and the sheriff comes automatically, and then the magistrates can choose to vote for themselves. And at that point, it would have been proper to include the jailer and the coroner, and last year we failed to do it. So my budget includes picking that up this year for the 3.4, and then I also have a 50 cent per hour, and we discussed this last meeting, just a 50 cent per hour for all hourly folks, and that would include like Chris and Robert are on salary. The amount of hours they work, I added 50 cents. So it added it to their salaries. That way they were included. Now it doesn't include the clerk or the sheriff that are on Fiscal. And then also I've got a third ambulance crew. I'll point that out when we get to it. It says there the funds for construction, loan repayment of animal shelter. And then we added funds in the increases for premiums for the liability and workers' comp. If you would, of course, there's numbers on 104, 105, but I'll get to a lot of them. Look on page 106. These are our revenues. You see the number up at the top on the general fund, the 8960, and then you go on down. Just want to notice to those as revenues. All right, page 107, our revenues again. And we run these on the low side as far as estimations. If you see the biggest ones there in the 01 account numbers, one at the top.
Some of them could be on the high side now if we lose out on these people like
That's true.
Creek and all.
That is a very good point. When we lose them, I still think they'll probably be reasonable.
Well, plus, could they possibly claim money back from prior?
Well, let's hope not.
How much did you what percentage did you over project?
Well, I under projected on revenues.
Or I mean, what percentage did you under project?
I was just shooting low instead of shooting high. But, and I can't give you that number, Mike, because I don't know. I just know we were very conservative.
Okay.
All the way across. Now, like the real property, the 1.1, see, we wound up getting a good bit more than that. But what I wanted to point out is that's roughly 9%, 9.1% of the total revenue. The occupational tax is 7.61. Insurance premium is 8.28. You know, them three together is a fourth. Well, the whole bunch there, 28%, but them three there are about a fourth of all our revenues. I just wanted to point that out on that page. Now, the expenditures, well, let's see, go to the next page. 108 is also revenues. And the numbers on the front pages will match up to these numbers. The expenses is where I want to spend a little time on. And they start on page 111. Well, 111 is where I was going to start there. But down toward the bottom, you see sheriff new vehicles with lines in blank. We've done a lot of work last year that we didn't have to appropriate money for this coming year. And then, of course, the coroner's salary there would reflect that little 3.4%. All right, on page 112, I included the co-op student part-times again. Money's in that line. The PVA office contribution is up from a year ago because our assessments went up. But again, like Doug said, if we lose revenue out of Elk Creek, that may change, who knows? But we did have to put more into that. Down in toward the middle, a little below half, election expenses, voting machines. The work that we did last year with Lynn and getting the voting machines replaced. that was big, but still, I feel like we've got the elections there funded very adequately. Down towards the bottom, the economic development, you can see there's nothing in that line because we incorporated that with the deputy judge's position. So that saved us on that. Go to the next page, 113, where it says EMS salaries, kind of down there in the middle.
958.
Yeah, 958 and 430. That includes 250,000 for the 12-hour shift. And something else that I've added there is that they have been in cooperation with the school system. The school has agreed to start a class where they are teaching EMS to our students. They're going to do the classroom space, they're going to do the materials, the books. And
wasn't another shift, was that a full shift that was 300 and something?
no, it was 500 something for 12 hours. He initially needed like 320 for a 12 hour.
That's what I thought.
And I said, what can you do it for? And I said, 200, no, and it's kind of like we were doing an auction. And I said, what can you do for 250? He said, I think we can do it for 250. So that's where I went with that. Now that's kind of bare bones there. And what it'll look like, I don't know, and I'll go ahead and elaborate. We could have a paramedic in a car,
Fly car, we call it.
fly car, and that'll save some money. I mean, we're looking at all avenues to get it done professionally.
So if we approve this right now, is Chris and Robert, they working to get guys lined up, interviews lined up to get this?
Yeah, the short answer would be yes. How many, I can't tell you, but he knows that this is the plan if this passes.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Because I know you've probably talked to Chris multiple times about this, but does he foresee any large expenditures this year as far as replacing equipment? I'd say ambulances, but I know, defibrillators is a big thing.
Yep, he is.
Stretchers, is a big thing. Is he gonna, we have $100,000 budgeted, but if he has a list of stuff that's gonna come up, the thing is the court's been down this road where it's not mentioned at the beginning, and then come October, well, then all of a sudden, we realized we had $100,000 worth of equipment that's past its due date, needs to be replaced. Is $100,000 going to cover that, or are we going to be absorbing extra expense later on? I think it's a discussion that needs to be had just to make sure. I'd rather have it in the budget initially than to have to, cope with extra funds later. I think he needs to look at his equipment and make sure that we.
Yeah, he has, because he and I spoke last week, and he come up with figures, because he mentioned the defibrillators, and then we're getting a new ambulance. If you equip this new ambulance, what they need is like 78,000. But we're going to take stuff out of the other ambulance and put in this ambulance. But we still will have to make some upgrades. So then, this other ambulance will be limited on what it can do. So I was asking about, how do you just do the bare bones to get it back where it's going? So, I mean, we're looking at every angle. And
I thought you're looking at a fleet of four ambulances.
We have 4 now.
Then, $100,000 could not cover.
But I have no plans to sell this 5th ambulance. We're gonna get a new ambulance, and we're gonna have the junkies one sitting to the side. And it might be this one we just spent $4,200 on. But, I'm hoping that's the oldest one we got, 2013.
I believe it is. Yeah.
But, so that one will be stripped out of its stuff instead of us paying $78,000 for new and put into this new one, what it doesn't have. But we're looking, best we can, Mike, and I'm.
So I have a question. It's the 5th ambulance. We do that. We strip it, and so what are we going to do with it if it's not capable of being on the road?
Well, it'll be
It's a spare ambulance that will be able to be on the road.
But it's still got to have all the equipment in it.
Well, I agree, and that's what I was looking about putting in it. It could still, you could still probably use it for certain runs. I mean, I know, and it gets real complicated, and I'm not the expert yet.
Well, like your stretcher and stuff, all you gotta do is take it out of the ambulance that's not working and put it in the new one.
Old unit, to me, if we're going to have a new ambulance, we already have all the newest equipment in that ambulance.
I was thinking the same thing.
And leave that old one with the old equipment, even if it costs us $70,000, that's just the way it is.
I agree. I mean, you don't buy a brand new fire
You
truck.
can do
put
a
all the
police
old-
car like that.
No, I mean, you buy a police car, you get a brand new radio, you get a brand new cage, you get a brand new.
But if you have an old ambulance set there, it's not like it's gonna be stripped to the bare bones. It's still gonna have a lot of
You still got the
capability.
same liabilities with that ambulance on the road
Yes.
as you do with a brand new.
Yes, but if you have a new one that goes down, then you take the stretcher out, you can take the defibrillator out and put it in the old ambulance and
Well,
it's
they
gonna
may
work just
not
fine.
fit, you know? They may not fit on the brackets and things like that of what the new ambulance body is, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm just saying, are we bypassing an opportunity to get ahead in exchange for getting back in a position where if something happens, we're robbing Peter to pay Paul again?
Yeah, well, but basically, this is a budget, and we can make changes. We just gotta start from somewhere, and, today is the starting point.
Well, if you don't want to do 100,000, I'm with you, Mike. Well, what, that 100,000 is what do you think, 200?
Well, no, I mean, I would just like to hear, I would like to hear a figure from Chris, like if we're gonna put all new in that ambulance, and like just make sure that he's went through and make sure all this stuff ain't gonna expire in the next year, a large ticket item.
Well, I've put.
And maybe adjust that number about 50,000.
Another line down, I've got 250,000 for another new ambulance. If we have 5 sitting here, we could buy the new for the one, and we could put that off a year. I don't know that that's best, but we can look at our assets and make that determination, but, there's your magic number line right there, that 250,000 if we keep.
So this 250,000 you have in here is not for the one we
No.
already have ordered, it's for.
Right, Doug, this is for another new.
We're hoping to pay for the one that's on order now before the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, no, this is another new one, Dan, yeah.
Well, then you gotta think about there, how long does it take us to get a new one?
Well, it's getting better.
It's getting better.
It's getting better, but.
If we're not anticipating buying another ambulance in the next fiscal year, why don't we use that money to,
Well, we can do that.
to like take all new equipment in the new.
And then you're still gonna pocket money to put somewhere else.
And
It's not gonna take all $250,000 to outfit the new ambulance.
Chris said that the only thing that they would be reusing in the new one is the power loader out of the old ambulance and convert it to the old ambulance to a performance load.
The performance load, whatever that is.
Well, what we get Chris in here next meeting and just say, hey,
But again, the good thing is, in the EMS budget line, which is all right down through here, what's the magic numbers? Doug and Karen and Brittany are experts on the numbers, but regardless, in this bunch of lines, this 250 is part of EMS. So, if we do approve this today, we can change that around.
okay, sounds good.
You all correct me if that statement was incorrect. But,
Well, anything that's in the budget, technically it's not approved, you all go there to court to buy the ambulance or do
Right.
whatever.
right, that this court would have to approve, but there is 250,000 there if we chose to wait a year on the ambulance to equip this new ambulance.
Okay.
So, all right, I'll keep running down. The animal medicals down at the bottom, that we're trying to lower that by watching what we spend at the vet offices.
I've got some figures that, on that, where we compared Humane Society vet costs versus, Elk Creek Animal Hospital, and there's a considerable difference in those costs of using their vet versus, now they can't do 100% of the things, but they can do a lot of it.
In all the discussions we've had, we're open to do whatever we can do that's, the best savings in money and the best service. So, but I know that number is a little lower, because we're trying to get a handle around the medical costs.
That's a comparison of the cost there. So, okay, right now.
All right, thank you, Dan. On page 114, kind of up there towards the top, sewer board, that does not include the the money that we're supposed to get, that was in last year's budget, because you don't have it yet, so I didn't add it in there. But, the senior citizens contribution, I budgeted again what we have given in the past. On down, general charity, welfare, cemetery maintenance, I put that at 5 again. Of course, we spent $1,300 or something last year, and they are working on cemeteries.
Do you make that building expensive to $1,000 anywhere in the ballpark of being right? Or we just spent $23,000? Do we generally not do any kind of maintenance on that building?
Where you at now?
He's up there on building expenses.
I just don't know what the previous years look like or what we do and don't do over there.
When I'm sure that number reflects last year's.
Yeah.
I mean, all these numbers reflect a year ago, and they reflect anticipation of what will need to be done. And a lot of the numbers that are small, if they've been small, we usually don't.
Why are we anticipating on that senior citizen building, I have to put another AC unit in?
No, we just voted in 23,000 this year.
Well, that's true.
But there's two doors, right?
Yeah, we just put in 1990.
Right, well,
You probably don't anticipate that.
But it's on a small unit, it's not a commercial unit.
Yeah,
It's
but I mean, still.
It'll be like $10,000 one like that.
Yeah.
but anyway, if, if we change that particular, again, this is just a budget. If you change that number, you'll have to take it out somewhere else. All right, anyway, I'll keep running here. Community events, last year we gave some money to the fair, 15,000. Of course, we've got 15,000 for the bicentennial. All right, tourism support. I know I went by, passed that up earlier today and on the agenda. That's what we have given them in the past. Of course, if you chose not to do that, I guess that would be 10. No, I wouldn't move up to that line. That's a different line. But,
I'm sorry, I know you passed that up. Andriana did email out something on Sunday. I don't know if you want me to read that to you so that you can kind of see that they are asking for $30,000. They're not here to present that today, but I don't really know how you want to approach it in terms of budgeting.
I'll approach it right now. They're wanting to, they're hoping we give them 30,000 and the city would give them 30,000 so they can hire a full-time tourism person. And I just don't see it yet myself. So.
I'm still not saying anything.
But we do have 10,000 there on tourism support.
I'm gonna be going through that.
Again, it's just a budget. We also got 10,000 on Chamber of Commerce. It's what we've done in the past. The War Memorial, we've got money there for, where we decided to do the plaques. And we've been paying, I think, 14 a plaque. I think I can get them made here locally for half that or less. So we're looking about doing that. So
Does that cover any?
That should be way more than enough.
Does that cover any other improvements or repairs that need to be made? I mean, I don't know the condition.
Yeah, we just, Dan's been fixing stuff. We put them strings on the flags, and we buy flags all the time. But we
I know in the past they've had problems with mountain not working and another
Right.
issue. Yeah, I think
we're going
on the pump.
Yes, I already, Dan and I had discussed, it should be squirting water instead of just seeping water. American Recovery Funds, you see that 7039, that's just in that line because of the 500 and plus the 204,000 roughly for the ambulance that's coming in. Of course, again, those numbers there can be changed.
Okay, you said the 500, what was that?
For the broadband that we rescinded.
Right, we rescinded that. Okay.
So, that money has to show up somewhere.
Okay.
So,
So where'd you put it at?
it's right there. That's 703,900.
And when do we have to?
Well, if we rescinded that, shouldn't that come off of it?
Well, but we gotta appropriate it somewhere.
By the time we started working on the budget, we hadn't approved the rescinder.
Yeah.
So we just left it there. It doesn't mean it can be transferred around, or we may still vote to use it.
Some of it can go for a new air conditioning unit at the senior center.
Yeah. But, All right, and then of course, you know, Salt Dome, we got that done. So on the next page, 115, up there at the health insurance, of course, under the road fund, there's also health insurance, but that number is raised to help pay for, if we do have more cost. Now the road fund starts. All right, you see the state funded flex, we've got an announcement, we're gonna get about that much. Now the discretionary, we have a list that's sent in, $500,000 worth. If I don't get some of that, we're gonna take a ride up Frankfurt, and visit some folks. And the bridge money, and then also there's emergency road aid money, and you can get, where we're fixing these creeks, we're stacking blocks and fixing these creeks, you can fix emergencies and get funded later. Aiming to put some of those on there, that's not online here, but the bridges is the 80,000. I've got 200 for asphalt, where we can do budgeted roads, and then we got 150 on gravel, and then again, this could be, you know, these things can be moved around. 35,000 on the easy street that we've been putting on when we patch places. If you look at snow removal, we've got that salt barn up there, I don't know, half, 2/3 full of salt. So that number there is low. If we have a typical winter, we probably got enough salt. If we have a winter like last winter, we got more than enough salt to last. It's already up there. But anyway, go ahead.
While I'm thinking about that salt that we bought, we don't have it all here yet. We still got some we done paid for, still sitting.
No, it's all here.
It's all here.
Well, everything we've ordered is here, and we've paid for it. So that's all paid for, and then we're not obligated to buy 500 tons. We had the option to buy 500 tons.
Okay.
And we wound up buying like 280, I think, 280 tons or something. But anyhow, we're in good shape.
If you're talking about doing some more work on there, Ray Jewel, that rock fabric, $1,000 might be a little light.
Well, we'll probably run that into, down at Ray Jewel, we'll try to run that into the land water conservation grant. Because this is mainly road. Now, like where the road crew does work for parks, we keep that separate. We have to charge that separate.
And then one other thing, I know that, you know, Todd hit me up a couple times, I'm sure he has, some of you guys too, about like, he'd like to have a little extra money to make like some improvements to like
the road barn,
the barn itself. I didn't see anything stated in here. Is that something that maybe you guys would like to discuss, throwing a little money in there to make some improvements as he sees fit, to make a little bit better working conditions or make it more operational?
The capital project building expense.
Yeah, I mean, I got.
It's hard for them to use that pressure washer in the shop and on the shop.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree with that.
I'm just breaking, he brought that to my attention when I first took office, and a couple times since then, that they'd like to maybe make some improvements inside the facility there, and I just didn't know if the court wanted to consider that as a line in the budget, or to donate some, or put some money towards that, or cross that bridge to get there, or what?
I mean, we can do anything, you guys, at any time. We can do that as need be anytime.
If you wanted to do it, like I said before, like I feel more comfortable if we had it budgeted instead of just out of the blue having to come up with 20 grand or something later.
You know, we did the road barn just like out of the blue and all that too. We didn't have it nothing in the budget about that.
Well, I'm trying to get rid of more out of the blue.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I agree with you.
So I just thought, you know, if that's something that we think may be necessary, let's take $15,000 from somewhere, $10,000 from somewhere, and plug it in there and say, you know, Todd, you got some money there if you want to make some improvements.
One thing Todd asked me for, and I've got a new line here, this third from the bottom, patch and work county roads, 50,000. And an example there is, of course, I'm glad I guess we didn't do it, but out on Schultz Lane, they paved all that in the back, it's in Shelby County. And then when you come out, there's a piece of the road about 50 feet that's just terrible. And if I lived back there, I'd be driving out and I was like, them crazy dudes, why didn't they fix this right here when they come out?
Yeah.
Well, didn't have a line to take it from. That's what this line right here would do. It creates a fund to where when they're doing a blacktop job somewhere and there's a bad place that's not funded, this is a line that we can take it out of.
I think that's a good idea.
So we could actually move some from that line to do this building repair if need be.
I think we ought to leave it.
Well, I agree, but if, you know, I think we're more than you.
And I agree, if we can change it at any time and pull it and transfer it from other lines at that time, you know, we can do that.
You know, I've got like new equipment rentals.
I was gonna say, you could probably
20,000.
put 10,000 or something from that over into capital projects, you know.
And I mean, we discussed that and we gave some, because at that time when we was putting these together, we was thinking about, you know, if you had to rent a wood chipper again. And then we was thinking about renting a track hole and digging with a big reach on it, which is gonna be about 5,000. And, but, I mean, we can take from that line and do other things, you know.
I just split that line in two, it's up to everybody else, okay, we'll split that line in two, put 10,000, put the room, 10,000 in capital projects for now, we've got some money in that line, both lines.
That's fine, I agree.
I agree.
So
10,000 in each one.
From the new equipment line?
Yeah.
Take 10 out.
Yeah, just split it in two, put 310 in one, and move 10 in the other.
Take the 20, y'all got that, Doug, Brittany? Take the,
Page 115.
take the 20,000 and make it 10,000, and then put 10 into.
Account number 026105-441.
And then we want to take the other 10,000, then we take that, they have to put in the capital project so they can use it on.
Put in 6105-741.
Maybe budget with new equipment rental myself.
What line did you put it into?
Capital projects is your
Yeah, 6105-742.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, just put it in that last.
Yep.
All right, I got you.
Yeah, you got it.
Doug got that?
You got it.
All right, good deal. Now, like that special projects FEMA match, you know, I was looking at that last night and, you know, we may have to spend a little on Old Hetty Bridge, but that's gonna be a FEMA project, right?
There is a line, and actually I'm going back and forth with QK4 right now about it, because I see that line has 0 in it. I would ideally like that to be in the Old Hetty line and not necessarily that FEMA line, because the FEMA line will be your 4702 declaration. That we're still kind of.
So do we need to change that FEMA match into the old, we don't need 200 in Old Hetty.
I don't know what you need in Old Hetty. Old Hetty was at 0.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know.
Still is.
Yeah, I don't know what you need.
Yeah, but you know,
We're fixing to spend some money there.
Yeah.
we don't know if we're even gonna spend it this year or not, you know, I think.
We spent maybe 55 so far just on engineering, and that was the contract that was signed in the previous administration. So I'm asking now what the construction cost on that's gonna be, and maybe we portion, or budget for a portion of that this year and a portion next year. I don't like the answer he gave, so we'll come back to it.
We'll come back to that. And, I mean, I feel like we're doing this a little different this year than we did last year, but I'm trying to be more thorough. And I appreciate you all bearing with me here.
I'll have to look at it like this and just get something gold from it and say that's what it is.
Right, and I want the community to see what we're working on. So we'll come back to that. Down here, the jailer's salary, that'll include that little JAG 3.4. The jail housing contracts, basically, that's somewhere around $45,000 a month.
Stay out of jail.
Is that amount of money? Yeah. Stay out of jail. We won't have to. We'd like to talk a lot of roads for $543,000.
Bill there,
and basically that's
quick question.
That's it.
Did we? We was talking about possibly having to house inmates at other facilities which are further away than Shelby.
Yeah.
Did we, is there something accounted for in there for like transport expenses and fuel on debit?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Well, we added some to fuels and utilities across the board. Electric's up because of all the stuff that comes from Washington. Electric's more expensive, and fuel's more expensive because we know, oil got up to $9.
Well, I was just saying on the jailer side of it, like, let's say you raised all the fuel by 5%, which you can afford. But now it's not only just fuel more expensive, he's gonna may have to drive farther, should we raise it 6 or 7?
Well, I know we raised them all, and I mean, there's enough there to cover it.
Okay.
Even
I don't know
if
what last year you wouldn't use last year, so.
Well, all the fuels are higher than it was a year ago. I know unless we missed one, but we raised them all. But the key is we have to have it balanced, and of course it all balances out. This page 117, like this opioid expense, I mean, this is some different. Of course, when we put this together, we hadn't got that 93,000 that we got last week in. But anyway, this is the budget that I'm proposing to you guys. You have the TK4 stuff?
I do, and I think that like Karen, Doug, and I are gonna have to sit down and look at it. Eric thinks us $2 million construction to begin in 2025, spring of 2025.
Yeah. And we'll have to do a FEMA match of what?
13-12%, something like that.
So we probably should put all that into the old heady line, because if it starts in 2025, that's this budget, 24, 25.
It really just depends on how things drag along in terms of environmental and advertising. Things are a little bit slow with federal government.
But basically, I mean, will DLG approve this because that FEMA match is in the 6105-548-0, and then the OHEDI is same number -H.
And you will just have to remember what you've done. That's all. These line item numbers, when we say Old Hetty, it's just so that when we look at it, we know, okay, that was Old Hetty. You can keep it in the FEMA line item, that's perfectly fine. We just have to remember when we do a transfer later, for my reporting and accounting and auditing and processes, I'm gonna probably transfer the money to that account number.
Yeah, we'll move it over and we'll vote on it. So, but anyhow, that's
I'm not sure in the road fund how much money on the silo projects that we've got, the road bonds that's been called, and work's been done on. So there'll be some money there that can be transferred back into other things, because we're doing part of the work out there now, I think.
Well, if you look on page 115, see silo has got two parts. The new part is with 132,000. That's the part where we just got the bond called in this year. Now, we're getting ready, we blacktop Lincoln and Crafton. And I think it went towards one of these. And then see the old part is the 447-S road project silo, that 94,000, that's the older part that was before our administration. They got called in. But both those lines are basically bonds that were called in. But, so we're gonna already be taken against them, but when this was put together, we had to put this against it. And then we gotta work on the culverts, Mike. I mean, we looked at that day, where it's over the block job.
I thought they was already working on that.
Well, they ain't done them yet.
They have to tear that out and reblock them.
Yeah.
I thought they was already working on that.
But, yeah.
Who did that work? Francisco guy?
Yeah, the bridge.
The contractor, who was the contractor? He was the developer.
I had somebody, I think we was gonna fix it, wasn't we? Our guys?
Todd's gonna fix it, like our county road department's gonna fix it. I don't know who the original contractor was that installed it. I just know it was under that Francesco guy or whatever. It was under him. I didn't hear a name of the original contractor, but I know that Todd said that they were gonna fix it. They was gonna get matching blocks, they have to get a couple more blocks that match what's already there, but that's cheaper than tearing that, put it all into with a different kind of block. And then they're gonna redo some of the masonry work around the culverts and stuff like that, and it's supposed to be done in-house. That's all I know, Jim.
But basically, so that'll, I guess, conclude, and we would need to vote and approve the first reading to send it to DOT. Is that right? And then when they'll sign it, send it back to us.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Jim, seconded by Zach, to approve the first reading of the 24-25 budget. Any discussion?
Did we make any changes? I just need the motion to approve with changes.
Well, I know we for sure made that $10,000 change on that one. And again, I mean, everything in here, again, this is fluid. It's just the process is we gotta send it to DOT. Ain't nothing set in stone here other than, I guess, the slots of money is sitting in. And even then, we can transfer to it.
I got one last question. What's that sheriff's drug equipment, $10,860?
Which page you on?
117.
That might be what's left. I have to ask Doug about that one.
I think that's their asset forfeiture. The federal asset forfeiture. Their state stuff they get to keep, but the federal stuff we can't.
And it's kind of like, Liam, that line there, the county clerk preservation recording. That line just keeps growing and growing. We need to spend that on something. I don't know what we spend it on.
We will.
Okay.
Restoration, book restoration, it was just awarded a grant for $54,000 for book restoration.
And I mean, but I don't think in the last 14 months we've spent one penny out of there, or hardly, have we?
You all bought some books, some recorded books.
Okay. But anyhow, that's an amount of money that we have to utilize. Kind of like the opioids. I mean, we need to utilize it. We're not in the business of sitting on money. We need to provide services. But anyway, so any other discussion? I appreciate all the good discussion, guys. I know it means a lot to the office and us to go ahead and get this, take the load off. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Now we will have, let's see, standing orders, recurring expenses.
What page is that?
119. And it's basically self-explanatory. Now the 120, if you have questions on that, we'll have to ask Doug and Brittany. And Corey, Cheryl, and Lynn, somebody.
The 120 has to be in the budget because DOG requires it to be submitted on the tax rates. The 119, yeah, we have to approve the standing order list on doing, and that doesn't mean that DOG will necessarily approve everything that's on here, but most of it they have. In the past, we've always had the salaries and utilities basically on there.
And then these, of course, I do know that real property, us, is this 0.66, 0.066, because we were 0.068 below it. But we'll need a motion to approve these, to send them to DOT.
Motion to approve.
All right. Second. Have a motion by Mike, seconded by Will, to approve the standing order and reoccurring expense documents. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Next, we're on the standing orders, not that, the invoices, bills, and transfers. Anyone have any questions on any of those? I'd like to point out on page 123, the city water is all under control, where we had water leaks and so forth. The I had the UniFirst bill, I think, is getting under control.
Didn't we, what is in the budget line that we went over like this? How much do we have in there for like animal medical expenses?
Well, I lowered it to 25 for this coming year, and right here, there's 60-some hundred.
That's what I'm looking at.
I know. Now, a lot of times, they will bill us, and it takes 3 months for them to bill us and get it ironed out. And I don't know if that's what took place right here, because it says March.
I can't tell you how they do their billing. All of us are working with them on it.
It also says 423 on it, but you know, I mean, I'm just pointing that out. You know, you have 20,000 in there, but this one time here is going to be $6,600.
And on page 127, you see where we started using Salt River Vet Clinic. We just got $410 there.
The medical bill.
So $7,000 total.
Some of the changes going forward, hopefully the medical bill is going to go down some because of some of the things that it had been doing on paying for shots that have been adopted. And
You know, and I think we'll get the Humane Society involved and more of it, then we'll lower those costs.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it comes down a lot, because $6,000 a month, that's 12 months, is $72,000.
And page 129 is where UniFirst pretty much is the whole page. And
That's on 6 feet, 7 feet.
that's damn good.
we do need to add 3 transfers though with things we've done today. I mean, we didn't have enough in there on doing the restriping at the park.
So what are you changing there, Doug? Just
Well, I'm gonna transfer $8,100 to the parks account, and he's gonna email them over to clerk and to the parks account for, from 0191 521. And basically, we're taking out an insurance account right now. We'll put it back when we get done with the budget amendment. This ambulance repair, transferring $5,000 to the ambulance repairs account. It's a little extra, but I figured next month we'll be changing oil or something in it. Account, taking it from the insurance account, and then we don't have 21,500 in the to pay for the
multi-purpose
citizen thing, and taking it from the insurance account also.
21,500.
Yeah, 21,500.
All right.
I got one question on page 131.
Yep.
At the bottom of it, it's got the road park backhoe, it's got a cost, or it's the same cost twice.
That's, believe it or not, that is what the front tire on that backhoe cost.
So they get
Bought 2 of them.
about 200.
Can you believe that tire was, I hate to complain, that cheap? $255 for that tire. I mean, over here that bought Packers.
I just wanted to make sure I was clear there, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, that's what that is. And then those tires were 170, 180 a piece. And another bid, we got 3 bids on these tires. Another bid was 230, 240. Another bid was 300 or 400 a piece at Bardstown for tires for these trucks. But that's what those are. And they're, all these tires are bought down here locally. All right, let's see. Any other questions? And the jail housing contract, Cheryl left. Stay out of jail, $40,100 this month.
Talking on deaf ears there.
I know, well. Yeah. Cheryl always gets a kick out of me when I do that, so whenever I remember to do it, I want to make Cheryl happy.
I just got like a little something here on the end, it's like a little 2-parter. One is like, first part of this, have we spent all the ARPA money on salaries and benefits yet? Is that right?
Yes. Well, you two help me, but it's all gone except that 700 and whatever it was, 750, wasn't 730 something. How much was it?
234 for the ambulance and 500 for.
Yeah, 704 roughly, 704,000. So it's all gone except them two things. And we're trying to pay for that ambulance before July 1, so we can have it in this budget and close it out.
Okay, and then the second part of that is, obviously, so how much money you got in Will's Lake?
Well, we've got 2,700,000. Let me see, 2 million in CDs, and 700,000 still sitting there. And then, of course, we bought that land, 700,000, it had 3.8 in it.
Okay.
So, I mean,
And Mike, I can send you that report again. It's no problem, so you can see what the breakdown is.
I'm just curious.
I know that we rescinded that broadband resolution, but I think that we're still trying to get some of the details ironed out in that.
So like 2.7, what we got?
We're 2.7 million in CDs.
yeah, we got 700 in another CD, yeah. We got 2.7 in CDs.
Okay, and that was the answer to my question, then.
The roof guy will be here tomorrow.
All right, good
And
deal.
that's not including the 750 for the land we've already paid for.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. And I know that we have a lot of things that we're gonna be doing in the next 12 months, so I just thought I'd refresh my own memory of what we had in the bank.
The county road, I hope it's on that.
I guess the review is important.
That's what I was looking for.
Well, it is, but it's supposed to have the county roads on it. They're not on there real good.
Well, they're on there, but they're not labeled.
Did you approve the bills?
We're still doing that.
Motion to approve the bills make a transfer.
Second.
Yeah, that's what.
People going up the new road there, and I just, I don't know where it's
What's that? People like going up the new road?
in my district.
Some of them might be.
They are, they got a letter in, like on the right side of, what is that, Cottonwood or something like that?
They got a letter that they gotta go over Shelby County?
No, my district. No, Shelby.
Oh, they got a card from Lynn that they got to change.
They are.
All right, well, let's, y'all help me again. Who made the motion to pay the
I made the
bills?
motion, he made the second.
Zach made the motion, Will second, to pay the bills and transfers, the additional transfers that Doug mentioned, and invoices. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Not gonna do any executive session today. I think we've covered enough ground.
Can I make one request?
Yes,
That's
maybe.
on the agenda all the time.
Our grant through Area Development Funds was approved for 2 swing sets for the parks. I'm going to order those. It's not to exceed $5,000, and I got approval to do that.
Motion to
Motion
approve.
approved.
All right, have a motion by Mike, I got you, Mike, seconded by Zach, to approve,
2 swing sets.
2 swing sets up to $5,000. That'll be mostly totally reimbursed by the KIPTA grant
Yes.
for 2 swing sets. All right,
And good work.
any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Motion by Zach, second by Mike. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all. That was a lot of stuff. Yes, you ordered them. You asked me. Yeah, I don't know why they don't order them. We can get more.
He asked me, I said, at least 6.